I hope he got taken out also.
Here you go again. Truex and Junior. The way they were racing, holy smoly.
Jeff Gordon is going to hold him off and win the Aaron's 499.
I had the force with me. I told you guys.
This is Darlington, NASCAR's oldest super speedway. It's grassroots racing on a throwback weekend. Jeff Gordon, Dale Earnhardt Jr., Jimmy Johnson, and 40 others will go at it at nearly 170 miles per hour. It's the track labeled Too Tough to Tame. Welcome to the Dodge Charger 500 on Fox, brought to you by Dodge. You can take life as it comes, or you can grab life by the horns. Dodge. And the driver recently named as one of People Magazine's 50 hottest bachelors, Casey Kane on the pole, sharing the front row with Ryan Newman, who owns an engineering degree from Purdue, a pair of Dodges up front. Welcome to the place where America gathers every weekend for NASCAR from the Hollywood Hotel. Hi, I'm Chris Myers. For all of us here on the eve of Mother's Day, thanks for joining us at a track appropriately called the Lady in Black. With drivers blaming each other about causing wrecks, and with a track facing a possible closure, this race could play out like an episode of Shakespeare meets The Simpsons. Joined by champion crew chief Jeff Hammond here at the Hollywood Hotel.
Shakespeare and
you got to watch to figure it out. All right, so wait a minute. We have Jimmy Johnson, who's had success here, hot driver, but other drivers hot under the collar about the way he's been driving.
Yeah, I mean, you don't want to come into a place like Darlington where it takes a lot of give and take and be in a situation like Jimmy's in, because you don't want any enemies anywhere, but at Darlington, you need somebody to realize, hey, what happened was an accident. Please don't try to take it back out on me, not especially tonight.
And Jimmy with his mom. We were in the drivers' meeting, an ovation for Mark Martin, Rusty Wallace, their last races here at Darlington. But what about Darlington itself? Is this the last Cup race here?
Well, there's been a lot of rumors right now, Chris, that this may be the last race. But today we went outside, and you'll notice up on the signboard, tickets are on sale for the 2006 race here. So you got to believe that somebody may know something that we don't.
It is sold out for tonight. This a 500-mile race. Should be exciting. Could be a long night. Last weekend's Wreck-A-Rama in Talladega began with the longest yard.
Gentlemen, start your engine!
Adam Sandler, the Grand Marshal and the star of the longest yard, gave the cue, and Jeff Gordon took off like a runaway bride. 139 laps, he dominated. Him and Junior bouncing back and forth. 55 laps to go. If this was the big one, Junior involved. Mike Wallace in the eye of the storm with Jimmy Johnson. A 25-car wreck. All the drivers were okay, at least physically. Mentally, some pain remains. Michael Waltrip late in the race took the lead, but Jeff Gordon took it back. And with a couple of laps to go, another wreck. Again involving Jimmy Johnson and Dale Earnhardt Jr., paving the way for Jeff Gordon, the first driver since '92 to win the Daytona 500 and spring race at Talladega in the same season. Jeff Gordon winning the Stars War. And right now, Gordon third in points and going for his 5th overall points championship. Junior was the leader in points. After 9 races last year, he has re-entered the top 10 for the first time since February. 17 drivers within the top spot for the chase, so that's Jimmy Johnson, top of the heap, ready to take on all challengers to both his points lead and driving style. Jimmy is with Matt Yoakum.
Jimmy's boss, Jeff Gordon, the co-car owner, won 3 straight here at Darlington. You're trying to do the same. How about it?
I think we got a good shot at it. The practice session has been kind of off for everyone. Everybody's been searching for grip with the new package and all, but the Lowe's car's great. My guys been working hard. We've got a great setup under the car. At least it was great last year. We'll find out here shortly.
Some harsh words and criticism from some of your friends in the garage area this past week after Talladega. Your thoughts on that, Jimmy?
Hey, this is big-time auto racing, and if you're going to let something as small as that bother you and get under your skin, you need to find a new profession. So life is good. I'm here in Darlington trying to win another race, My Lowe's team and all the employee owners at Lowe's are behind me 100%. My race fans are, and everybody has an opinion. I've got one, and some other fans and drivers have one too, and that's what makes our sport so good.
Have you talked to Junior real quick?
Yeah, absolutely. It's great. You know, guys make comments, you talk to them on the phone, and they laugh about it. Say, oh, man, check out the headlines. Isn't that great? So there's just a whole lot of finger pointing going on because I don't feel there's a lot going on in the sport right now. So it's why not, you know, just make a bashing session out of things.
He'll start 9 tonight, trying for 3 in a row here at Darlington. Chris?
All right, thanks. Finger pointing, bashing, that's fun. All right, those not in the chase right now, names. Matt Kenseth, who won last night, Bobby Labonte, and Casey Kane, who's on the pole, 6 career second-place finishes.
Well, that's what you're looking right now to do is for these Dodges, especially with Casey Kane, to break out, and tonight could be a breakout year for Casey Kane as well as Dodge.
And a reminder, of course, Sunday, Mother's Day. If you're still desperately searching for that perfect present or maybe a new way to bond with your mom, you could invite her to vote for NASCAR's sexiest driver.
Thanks, boys. Well, we finished up the first round with 2, count 'em, 2 matchups last week. The first got more than 500,000 votes, with Michael Waltrip beating Jimmy Johnson with only 51% of the tally. In matchup number 2, Elliott Sadler had a little easier time beating Ryan Newman with 55%. It's on to round 2, which starts today. Our first match of the quarterfinal pits Dale Earnhardt Jr. against Tony Stewart. Can NASCAR's bad boy upset the sport's biggest star? We'll see. Be sure to vote. It's so easy. Just log on to foxsports.com, powered by MSN. Keyword sexiest. Back to you, Chris.
All right, always a pleasure. Some upsets in the brackets. You know, not too sexy here, tires. And you said you counted some guys have 14 sets of them?
14 sets of tires, but this sexiest driver thing, it's amazing. It's blowing me away, but, you know, talk about these tires, buddy. A lot of them out there on pit road right now.
We're getting ready to race at a track where the walls seem to reach out and grab cars and give them the famous Darlington stripe. This is NASCAR on Fox. Welcome back to the Dodge Charger 500 on Fox, brought to you by Dodge. You can take life as it comes, or you can grab life by the horn. Dodge. Get ready to go racing here in Darlington. Fans invited to participate in the singular virtual crew chief during tonight's race. Stay tuned for details on how to play and watch for your chance to drive away in your own singular. The first Saturday night race, possibly the final NASCAR Nextel Cup race at this traditional track. David Pearson has won 10 races here, the most ever. Jeff Gordon leads all active drivers with 6 victories. How about the lighting by the time the sun sets? The temperature's cooling. How will that affect the racing?
Well, I think right now they're going to be fighting the sun going down this back straightaway, going into turn 3 as far as that's concerned. But once it starts cooling down, a lot of drivers are anticipating the track to pick up grip. So don't be surprised to see a lot of these cars, when they first drop the green flag, to be real loose and the guys having their hands full.
And I know, talking to some of the drivers, they do expect a lot of caution flags, a lengthy night, especially the way the people have been driving aggressively this year.
Well, aggressively, yes, but the other thing you need to worry about here is this 500 miles once again at Darlington. We normally see that in the fall. In the spring, we've been running 400 miles the last few years, so a 500-mile race here at Darlington early in the spring, running at night under the lights. The track's going to change a lot, and the guys are going to have to stay on top of their adjustments. Otherwise, they're going to wind up getting themselves lapped.
Jimmy Johnson trying to win his 3rd straight race here. The only drivers who've done that, the late Dale Earnhardt and Jeff Gordon. Let's check in live with Dick Berggren. Dick?
Thanks, Chris. 46-year-old Mark Martin is retiring from Nextel Cup racing at the end of this year. Today, he makes his 39th and final start at Darlington. Mark has had terrific success here, winning in the Cup Series and 8 times in the Busch Series. Tonight, he starts 20th. 48-year-old Rusty Wallace, also retiring from Nextel competition at the end of this year. Tonight, he'll make his 43rd and final Darlington appearance. Rusty has a pair of seconds, but never won here. He starts 12th. Kyle Busch is making his first start at Darlington in this series. He was fast in practice. He starts 6th. He just turned 20. Will it be youth or experience that prevails tonight?
Thanks, Dick Berggren. Race 10 of 36, 26 to the chase on the eve of Mother's Day. It's NASCAR here from Darlington. Let's check in with opening ceremony.
Gentlemen, will you please...
Sold out at Darlington. Crews, drivers, ready to race on the eve of Mother's Day. It's a track where drivers will tell you if you can win here in Darlington, then you can win anywhere. Darrell Waltrip won here 5 times. Let's go up to the broadcast booth. The voices of NASCAR on Fox, DW with Larry McReynolds and Mike Joy. Mike?
Thanks, Chris, and hi, everybody. The annual stock car race at Darlington since 1950 has been one of the South's great sporting events. They used to stage it over a period of 4 days with a day off for a parade on Sunday and run the race on Labor Day. Tradition has been laid aside, but the racetrack is much as it ever was. The Lady in Black, the track too tough to tame. And I'll bet, Darrell, for drivers, it's got a lot more nicknames than that.
Hey, this joint's got a bad reputation, and it deserves it. Let me tell you, the first time I came here, they showed us a film, and it was Richard Petty coming off of turn 2 over there. He lost it, and he went through the pit wall. But that just went upside down, broke his arm. The next thing they show you is a car going out of turn 3. Kelly Yarborough going over Sam McQuagg's hood out of the ballpark. And I was just a rookie, and I said, I don't know, not only do I not want to practice here, I don't want to race here. This joint is tough, and it deserves every bit of the bad reputation it has.
But DW, you were preparing to race this race at about 140, 150 miles per hour, which is about what this racetrack was designed to race at. These guys tonight, as Chris Myers pointed out, over 170 miles per hour, almost 180 miles per hour into the corners, and you run a groove you don't run anywhere else. You run right against the wall in the corners. Now, the race teams, they've done all they can because they know you're going to get in trouble. You're going to go up there and you're going to hit that wall. We've put extra bars in that car. We've done everything we can to keep the fenders off the tires and hope at about 450 miles or about 4 hours from now, you stayed out of enough trouble, we can go out and win this thing.
Even Friday's qualifying session was one of the most exciting we've seen in years. You know you're going to hit the wall here. It's just a question of how hard and how many times, Chris.
And we'll be watching all night, Mike, at a special command as NASCAR's moms will say, sons and gentlemen, start your engines. They're here, part of the festivities on the evening before their day. NASCAR on Fox with moms getting things going is a moment away. Mother's Day just a few hours away. That's why the command to start engines goes to some great racing mothers. They get the honor.
Mothers, for those most famous words in motorsports.
And to the moms of racing and to all moms everywhere, an early happy Mother's Day from all of us here at Fox. Out to you. This is the 55th year of racing at Darlington. A lot of history, as Mike Joy and the guys in the booth discussed. Steve Burns has more on this track's history and legacy. Steve?
Chris, Darlington, NASCAR's first paved racetrack. September 4th, 1950, the first 500-miler in NASCAR history. Johnny Mance beat a field of 73 drivers in a race that took nearly 6 hours to complete. Since then, 100 Cup races, 40 different winners. And every one of those drivers that's been to Victory Lane had the same thought or the same emotion. Today, I beat this racetrack.
And race the racetrack is what they said at the drivers' meeting. About to go 367 wall-banging laps around this egg-shaped oval as the Dodge Charger 500 is straight ahead on Fox.
On behalf of Dodge and our 3,000 Dodge dealers across the United States, we're very pleased to be sponsoring the Dodge Charger 500. It's a great opportunity for us to introduce to the public the new Dodge passenger cars, the Charger. You know, we're really a piece of history because back in 1970, Buddy Baker actually won here in Darlington driving a Charger. We're hoping we can do it again. We want to see a Charger in Victory Lane. So stay tuned. Chargers, here we go.
Welcome back to NASCAR on Fox. I'm Scott Joy. Happy Mother's Day!
And Mike's son Scott celebrating his 6th birthday. Happy birthday. His mom proud. Let's head back up to the booth and a proud father as well.
He was so proud of getting to lead the kids at Motor Racing Outreach, drivers' kids, and wishing happy Mother's Day. So, happy birthday, son.
Another kid trying to cut in on my gig.
And he's good. This guy's good, Casey Kane. Budweiser, official beer of NASCAR, proud sponsor of the Budweiser Pole Award, given to the fastest qualifier at each NASCAR Nextel Cup race. Budweiser congratulates Casey Kane, the latest Budweiser shootout eligible driver. If you're looking for the back of the Dodge Charger pace car at the two Dodges on the front row, Casey Kane and Ryan Newman. Two Fords in row 2. This is the Noah's Ark starting lineup, Biffle and Sadler in Ford. And guess what? Two Chevrolets in row 3, Vickers and Busch. From there on back, things get a little more sorted out. No, we get a pair of Dodges again in row 4. Stop this nonsense. There's a Chevrolet in row 5 with a Ford. Okay, back to normal. As you look at the rest of the starting lineup, on the track too tough to tame, where 50 years ago fans paid $5 to come here and watch the Grand National race, $8 to sit in the special covered grandstand on the front straightaway.
And what made this the Lady in Black was they used to put a really black sealer on the racetrack, and it was absolutely pitch black. And that's where the name Lady in Black came from.
Mike, you talked about the Dodges, the Fords, those Chevrolets in those first 3 rows. Remember, this is an impound race. They had 1.5 hours of practice, and a lot of them are jockeying between making that fast qualifying lap, getting ready to race. Last night in the Busch race, we saw a lot of comers and goers. The guys that qualified fast, they didn't have that great of a race set up. The man that won it, he started 24th last night, Matt Kinson.
Now, there is an issue with the sun going into turn 3 right now, and you can see right here with Ricky Rudd, he's got the clear shield for later, but he's got those sunglasses on for right now. And I noticed over in Jason Leffler's car, he had a dark shield, so that could cause him a problem later on in the evening.
But you know, Darrell, I noticed that that's an impact helmet, and I know they make a tearaway.
Yes,
that'll
sir.
turn it to clear once he tears that tinted tearaway off.
Yeah, I just noticed it there. You can see it kind of flopping right there. I didn't notice that when we looked in there the first time.
That's a great idea. It works for windshields. It should work for helmet visors as well. We are 1 lap from racing at Darlington. Last night, a crash on lap 1 of the Diamond Hill Plywood 200, the Busch Series race.
There is no reason for urgency tonight. You got 500 miles, 367 laps, somewhere around 4 hours.
You see right there, the air temperature is 76 degrees. Track temperature averaging about 74 degrees. The surface of this racetrack is like a piece of 80 grit sandpaper. It just eats the tires up. Even when the track cools down, the speeds will pick up, but it still will not have a lot of grip.
Watch what Carl Edwards is up to here. He is removed. He's not reading the Florence morning paper. That's part of a tear off from the windshield that he's reached around.
Actually, I thought it was something that the crew had stuck on his steering wheel that said maybe patience, and that's what he thought.
Could be.
Oh, he turned it off his windshield.
From the inside of the windshield, looking for a little help with the sun. 500 miles, 367 laps. Pit window 70 to 75.
That's for fuel, Mike. They'll be wanting tires after about 15 or 20 laps. But pit road speed, this is one of the most treacherous pit roads that we have as far as getting on the pit road. With DW, it's going to be one wild ride on a Saturday night. You better reach up there and pull those belts tight one more time, baby.
Yeah, there's Patty Petty in the flag stand. She's got the green flag. Here they come. Boogity, boogity, boogity. Let's go racing, boys, and happy Mother's Day.
Ryan Newman, the 12 car, narrowly spun the tires when he tried to start the race right there.
That is so easy to do, particularly, Larry, those guys that...
trouble. Jimmy Johnson had trouble getting off turn 2. Kurt Busch and Carl Edwards almost stacked up right behind him. And you're going to hear the word almost a lot tonight. For the lead, lap 1, they're going to come off the corner all but side by side.
Greg Biffle in that 16 car, boy, he wanted to lead that first.
Whoa, here we go, coming around, 97 car.
Kurt Busch slams the inside wall, and just like last night, lap 1, caution 1, and the defending Nextel Cup champion is going to head for repairs after 1 lap.
And remember, he comes in here second in the points.
This is kind of what he has been struggling with this year, getting himself in wrecks like this. It happened to him at Bristol, happened to him at Martinsville, and here we are today.
The left front's down, a lot of front-end sheet metal damage, right front askew, and damage to Rusty's car as well. Let's find out why.
He's down under Rusty here. Rusty's got the outside. Kurt gets up there. He's trying to stay off of Rusty, and the back end just got around on him. I don't think Gordon got into him. I think Gordon was just real close to him, and I'm telling you, that little bitty rear blade back there early on a run, track a little bit dirty, stick that nose up on the back end of that thing, might have just loosened him up enough to spin him around. How about it, Matty?
D, he came on the radio and said, I can't believe it snapped around like it did. They're going to take it behind the wall, looking at a possible radiator, other damage underneath the hood. Tough break for the defending series champion.
Yours.
He makes his way down pit road.
Caution is out. Caution is out behind you. Slow it down.
From the helicopter, hard to tell if there was contact as Kurt Busch comes around and into the wall.
Charger 500 on Fox is brought to you by Dodge. You can take life as it comes, or you can grab life by the horn. Dodge. By Singular, raising the bar. By McDonald's. And by the Principal Financial Group. We understand what you're working for. Last night's Busch race, first couple of laps, caution came out. That's the story again tonight.
Well, right now, Chris, you got to realize an impound race, these guys have had no practice, but they had to start the race on the same tires they qualified on, and that could be part of the problem. Right, DW?
Casey Kane leads for the first time since Las Vegas as we get set for the restart green. This first caution occupied 5 laps. Kurt Busch behind the wall, the number 2 point man in the series, under repair. Single file restart. Once again, we're racing in Darlington. A further look at the accident did not show any contact between Jeff Gordon and Kurt Busch that would have sent Busch's car spinning.
The real move we saw at the front of the pack was Mark Martin went by Travis.
Turn 3, a car's in the wall. It's Michael Waltrip.
He's gotten the thing up in the wall. What in the world?
No caution yet.
Hold it up.
They're starting to really stack up behind him, though. He's trying to get to pit road. He could not make it to pit road, and there's the caution.
A late yellow for Michael Waltrip on lap 7.
I have no idea what happened.
A lot of damage.
Just remember the last 3 races, Michael has outscored every other driver as far as points, 3 consecutive top 10 finishes.
Oh, he's had an ongoing set of incidents with Jeff Green, and there was contact between Green's number 43 and Michael's car, both Owensboro natives. Let's see.
I know anytime a car turns to the right like that, it means somebody got in the back of you.
Outside, outside. We're up against the wall, guys. Come on, hold around. Stay up, Mike.
Basically, the audio sounded like Michael Waltrip rolled out the throttle. Jeff Green didn't.
It's like Mike Wallace said last week, you don't spin out by yourself just going down the straightaway. A look at Jeff Burton, who's running in 27th position, the 99 winner here. Time for our singular virtual crew chief question. Will Jimmy Johnson win 3 in a row at Darlington? Text the word crew to 191 on your singular wireless phone or go to foxsports.com. You'll also be entered for a chance to win your own singular number 31 car.
See, at Talladega, you wait for the big one. Here, at the end of the night, the sum of all parts will be the same as the big one. It just is a lot of little ones that mounts up to the same result.
Michael Waltrip's car up on jack stands under repair. He and Kurt Busch. His cars both damaged heavily, and behind the wall, 2 cautions in just 7 laps. We'll complete lap 10 this time by, end the second caution period, and go back to green. Green flag. Casey Kane leads Greg Biffle, Elliott Sadler, Ryan Newman, Brian Vickers, Kyle Busch, and Sterling Marlin to turn 1.
See, Casey Kane, our leader, took the green flag at 50 miles per hour, already in the middle of 1 and 2, almost 160 miles per hour.
and off the corner of turn 2. Pretty much run wide open through 1 and 2 after a restart.
And this is a lot like Bristol, Larry. The first, the 9 car there was going into turn 1, and the last place car was coming off of turn 4 when they took the green flag. Almost close to a half a lap time they get going.
Jeff Gordon, 24, moving on Rusty Wallace for 11th place.
Now, see, Tony Stewart was really smart right there. He didn't try to force his way under Rusty. When Jeff went by, he backed off and let those two finish off the job. Now he'll do it. One at a time. That's how you pass them here.
No forcing the issue here. For the lead, Greg Biffle takes the Travelodge Ford underneath Casey Kane's Dodge Charger. First lead change of the night. Biffle has now led 8 of the 10 Cup races this year.
Okay, Stewart says, now it's my turn.
1 by 1. And now Elliott Sadler in the M&M's Ford wants 2nd place from Kane, but didn't get a good run off turn 2.
And maybe that pass broke Casey Kane's momentum in the 9 car just a little bit and allowed Elliott to close. They get sorted out here. The 9 will get a little bit rhythm back and pull away.
In the garage, Dick Berggren.
With Michael Waltrip after finishing 2nd and 3rd respectively in the last 2 weeks. His is the more seriously damaged of the 2 cars that are here. We heard you say that you had no idea what happened, but with a little time to think about it. Any further thoughts?
Well, I thank God for mothers, because my mom has taught me to, if you don't have anything nice to say, just don't say anything at all. The Napa Chevy was ready to race, and I was going down the straightaway, Dick. I wish you had your handy camera with you to show me what the heck could have actually happened. I'm just shocked.
Glad you're okay. See you next week. Watching a battle right here between Sterling Marlin in the 40 car, Kyle Busch in the 5 car. That's a battle for the 6th position. Now you see Jeremy Mayfield in the 19 car. He's trying to go up there, but he had to roll out the throttle and look at the momentum he lost down the back straightaway.
Absolutely the wrong thing to do, wrong place to pass. Get back and get a run. Trying to force your way around somebody here, you just get, you break your momentum and you take a chance on wrecking.
Casey Kane, our pole sitter, Matt's in his pit.
When Casey can get in the throttle, the cars are rocking, but that's the problem, Larry Mack. The car is just way too free. When he tries to get back in the gas, he loses too much time. That's why he lost the lead, and that's why he's got a mirror full of the 38 of Elliott Sadler.
And we talked about that at the top of the show. You know, even in the Busch race last night, the guys that ran that fast lap, they struggled once they got about 10 or 12 laps on their tires in the race.
Yeah, Jimmy Johnson said on pole last night, he backed up through the field, you know, because he couldn't get forward bite. Too much rear spring, probably.
Off turn 2, where they run right up near the wall, and then down to the small end of this egg-shaped racetrack, turns 3 and 4. Ryan Newman off to the inside of Casey Kane.
And he will take the position. I think Ryan Newman is just now finally being able to recover from spinning the tires at the start of the race and lost those 4 or 5 positions.
Now, there's 2 moves here. The slide job, which is kind of what Ryan did there in turns 3 and 4. And then down here in 1 and 2, you get the crossover. You hold the guy out there and make him run in the corner so hard, when he goes up, you go down and go under him.
Down the backstretch, when this track built, this was the front straightaway, hard by Highway 151. When International Speedway Corp acquired the track, watching 40 Sterling Marlin go after Brian Vickers, they realized they couldn't expand that side of the track, so they made that the backstretch. Took the former backstretch, put up brand new seats. They have some plans for VIP suites, put up a new control tower, and that's the configuration we run today.
There was that crossover move right there. Sterling Marlin in the 40 car gets by Brian Vickers in the 25, and Brian's teammate Kyle Busch in the 5 will follow. Sterling making his 650th career start here tonight.
Well, he had a good he had a good car last night, that Busch car. He got up there and led the race, had some problems with the battery, but Sterling has been pumped, I'm telling you.
We watched Greg Biffle in the 16 car lead this race. This has been, even since his rookie season and in the Busch Series, this has been Greg Biffle's type of racetrack. He almost won the race here a couple of years ago, and the car bottomed out so bad that it wore the gear ring off the flywheel.
Yeah, he doesn't mind sliding around. The man has got an incredible amount of feel and good car control. Getting a little loose, pushing, sliding, slapping the fence every now and then. That's his kind of racing.
And also, Darrell, he seems to have the kind of aggressive patience that you need to do well here.
Yeah, I think he does. You just got to be really careful as this thing wears on and don't get too confident in your driving ability.
Joe Nemechek passes Kyle Petty for 26th. Yes, do not adjust your set. Kyle's car is Mother's Day pink, Georgia Pacific Dodge, and that's a picture of young Kyle on the quarter panel.
And above the right window opening on the roof where the driver's name goes is the name Linda Petty.
And Larry and I were kind of chuckling about that car because it reminded us of the old 8 car that Dale Earnhardt had when he first started racing way back in the 70s.
It was about that shade of pink, wasn't it?
It was, yeah. He hated that car.
K2, wasn't it?
K2.
It was David Oliver's car.
Yes, sir.
Congratulations to Corey and Taryn Reynolds of Houston, Texas. Their company, Fort Bend Lock and Key, has been named the official small business of NASCAR. They won a trip to Darlington, their logo on the race car, and there they are, taking it all in here. At the track Too Tough to Tame, Office Depot gives small business an opportunity to be a part of NASCAR.
I guess they could be in that commercial, he works for me, right?
Yeah. 22 laps complete in the Dodge Charger 500. Greg Biffle out front of Elliott Sadler, Ryan Newman, Casey Kane, Sterling Marlin. 3 of those Dodges in the top 5. Carl Edwards moves up to 8, passing Brian Vickers. He's going to bring Jimmy Johnson and Jeff Gordon along with him.
3 of the 4 Hendrick cars right there running together. But, you know, talking about the Dodge Charger, and we're looking at Jamie McMurray right there in the 42 car, the Haviland car that's a Charger, I think one of the things these guys are nervous about, in fact, at the beginning of the show, we saw one of Casey Kane's crew members spraying the grill down with Pam, because those grill openings on that Charger, they're like a cavity. And these tires, they throw off so much rubber. A lot of the Chargers last night had overheating problems because those grill nostrils were clogged up. Matt, are we hearing a little bit about that?
Well, the 12 car, Ryan Newman, he called in, said, Matt, is there any debris on my grill? The team looked it over with binoculars from the roof. They said, no, it looks clean. He says 10-4. So he did radio back that it was around 200, but he was concerned if there was debris.
But you can already see, just after 24 laps, you could see on those grill openings all those little specks of tire rubber, and this is only 24 laps into this race.
Well, and the other thing I can see, Larry, is tape. Why in the world would you have tape on the grill? See, those are right in the center on both sides of those little openings. He's got tape on there. You got to get that off. It's pretty warm out there tonight.
Yes, it is.
And this joint is notorious for plugging up your grill and your radiator.
You know, they have an elaborate pre-race here, and for me, the best part of it was that big parade of all of the Plymouth Superbirds.
5 complete, 2-5 complete.
And the Wing Dodge Daytonas that used to run here in the early 1970s. There's a very active Charger Daytona Superbird Club. A lot of their members bring their cars out. Wow, what it was like back then.
That was an era right there that was just incredible. With the 426 Hemis and the 4 Talladegas and the Wing Dodges and the Superbirds, that was when racing was just absolutely out of control. The fact manufacturers took over the sport and they built strictly race cars.
Funny thing was, Darrell, only one of those cars ever won here. Buddy Baker did it.
Tell you, one of the cars that ran fast on qualifying yesterday, Brian Vickers in the 25 car, you can see he has his hands full. He qualified 5th. He's already fallen back to 12th. Now he's going to lose probably 3 or 4 more positions. And, Dick, I think that car is way too loose.
Other way around, Larry. It's way too tight. He says he just can't steer that automobile. Ask the crew chief what they did to the cars since qualifying. Of course, nothing. The cars were impounded.
Yeah, well, what happens here is you get the front end pushing, and it makes the car look loose. The front end will not grip. You turn wheel into it, trying to get it to turn, and then it jumps loose. It just jumps out from under you, and that's when you hit the wall.
Guys, I want you to take a look at the 6-car Mark Martin. He's making his way back up to the field. He just got in behind this group of cars being led by Tony Stewart. And he's got fresher tires. He came to pit road on that last caution, made a little adjustment, I think, along with Jeff Burton. But he's really been marching his way back towards the front. And just having 10-lap better tires is really paying off for him so far.
Yeah, Jeff, we had about 9 cars, as you mentioned, including Mark Martin in the 6, Jeff Burton in the 31, as well as Dale Earnhardt Jr., Kevin Harvick, and Dale Jarrett that pitted back on lap 8, so they only have 20 laps on their tires now.
Mark Martin restarted 33rd and is already up to 14. in his final Darlington appearance.
There you see Kevin Harvick in the 29 car. We talked about him. He has fresh tires, and he's going by Brian Vickers now. Brian Vickers in the 25 definitely needs a caution.
Boy, Darrell, tires here make you feel like Superman for a while, won't they?
Oh, you'll see later on when some of these cars start to pit and they go back out with new tires versus old, almost 3 seconds faster. That's got to be somewhere maybe 12 to 15 mile an hour faster than the guys on old tires. I was looking at minimum speed for the race tonight is 33.50, and that's going to be hard to do at the end of a run on old tires.
Whoa, Joe Nemechek slip slides around, getting to the inside of Brian Vickers.
See, Vickers needs to let him go right there. Don't race him down in there because that just slows you both down. One of the hardest things to learn here is you let off on the straightaway. You let off in the middle of the straightaway and let the guy go by, fall in behind him, and you don't lose any time that way. This is a momentum racetrack. You've got to keep your momentum up.
Jeremy Mayfield in that top banana-colored Dodge, number 19, on the move.
You know, Jeremy could have won this race here a few years ago. Had a great car, got in a wreck off turn 2 over there, but he loves this racetrack, and that car looks excellent off the corner.
Third place battle right here. Casey Kane just got past Ryan Newman.
Now, did you hear the wheel spin when the car came off the corner? That's what the guys are dealing with right now.
They were about halfway through this run. This is where you start driving that car as much with the throttle pedal as you do the steering wheel.
As old John Forces say, you got to pedal her a little bit.
Greg Biffle owns a 3-second lead. And you can see how his speeds have dropped off as these tires wear.
Charger 500 on Fox is brought to you by Office Depot, the official office product partner of NASCAR. By Wendy's, new Mediterranean chicken salad. Wendy's, it's better here. By FedEx, proud sponsor of the number 11 car. And by Sunoco, official fuel of NASCAR. Without Sunoco, there'd be no race day. After a couple early cautions, things have settled down. Greg Biffle has led 25-plus laps. 4th straight race that he's led this season. He was 4th last night in the Busch race here in Darlington. And Jeff Hammond, there's last week's winner, Jeff Gordon. By the way, Greg Biffle's 2 wins this season have come the week after Jeff Gordon won races. And, of course, Jeff won in Talladega. The track time's a little slower than they were earlier right now, Jeff.
Yeah, from what practice was on Friday, they're about 2 seconds slower. And to me, that indicates that even though we've got, I think, got a caution on the racetrack right now for debris, so these guys will be glad to see that. We see Michael Waltrip right now getting ready to bring his number 15 car back out on the speedway. So for a lot of these drivers, they're glad to see this caution.
Debris in turn 3 puts us under caution. It comes just as Kevin Harvick had passed Tony Stewart for 15th place. Excuse me, turn 4 debris is the reason for this yellow flag at lap 39, and it is the 3rd caution of the night. Kurt Busch's car under repair. Michael Waltrip back on track, but 43 laps back. Jeff Fuller also in the garage, and Hermie Sadler has had some troubles as well.
We know there was a lot of cars that was needing this caution. We've been talking about Brian Vickers, who had slid all the way back to the 22nd position. A lot of cars that were in danger of going a lap down. So this caution was very much needed by a lot of ill-handling race cars out there. And we will see probably all 38 cars on the lead lap to pit road for 4 tires.
I tell you, that 5 car right there, though, Larry, he's been hanging up there. He's in 5th place, our young rookie there, doing a pretty darn good job. We were looking back at him just then.
Hey, who else was doing a great job? Kenny Schrader running in 14th, and he was closing on Jeff Burton as the caution flag waved. There's Schrader in the Schwann's Dodge. He had driven away from Tony Stewart, making good time.
Schrader has always ran well here. It's just one of those racetracks he likes.
Now, you see that's a Dodge. Look how much bigger his grill openings are than what we saw on the 12 car. I mean, the 12 car's hose look real small compared to what Schrader's looks.
Steve.
Elliott Sadler describing his car to crew chief Todd Parody said, "I'm free getting in and I'm loose off." So they will definitely take 4 tires. They'll also make a track bar adjustment on the number 38 of Elliott Sadler. Dick Mike Berger.
Greg Biffle said that his car needs a little bit of wedge, so they're going to put a half a round in the left rear. There it goes in. Other than that, the car is just fine. He said the racetrack has got very slick. Biffle has been warned. Be very careful coming off pit road. Don't damage the car. Matt.
And the Dodge boys go to work on a 9 and 19. Mayfield in the center of your screen says the car was excellent on long runs. No changes. Meanwhile, a number of changes for Casey Kane's Go Mango Dodge. The track bar adjustment, he was both tight and loose as the 16, 38, and 19 beat him off pit road.
Mayfield officially led that lap.
There you see the race off pit road. Jimmy Johnson, just as those guys did a year ago here, gaining 5 positions. And there you see the time on pit road, including the pit stop. Elliott Sadler, Jimmy Johnson having the fastest of the top 10, the fast 2. Kyle Busch, Sterling Marlin having the slowest.
Every race, a couple fellas stay out trying to lead a lap. This time it was Mike Wallace and Kevin LePage, but Mayfield on pit road beat them to the start-finish line.
The Dodge Charger 500 on Fox is brought to you by UPS. We're going to race the truck. People love the truck. UPS, the official delivery company of NASCAR, delivers a chance to win 4 tickets to next year's Daytona 500. Go to foxsports.com. Keyword UPS.
It's getting to be twilight time in Darlington.
Yeah, it looks like the sun goes down, so what do? Just reach over there and get rid of those sunglasses, pull your clear shield down, and you are good to go.
Good night, son.
Hello, Moon.
43 laps to go, 44 this time by as we finish up the 3rd caution flag of the evening, this one for debris. Pace cars on pit road. Everybody's made their stops. Greg Biffle is going to bring Elliott Sadler down to the line with Jeremy Mayfield, Jimmy Johnson, Casey Kane, Ryan Newman, Kyle Busch, and Jeff Gordon.
Hey, another crew that really picked up a lot of positions on pit road that time was Kevin Harvick, the Todd Berry-led crew. He picked up about 4 or 5 spots. He's up there in the 11th position now.
And that, I think, Larry, is a gain of about 5.
Yeah,
4 spots from where he pitted.
He just gained 1 more, too, because he shot right by Jamie McMurray up here in the middle of 3 and 4, or 1 and 2. And away he goes. His car looks fast.
But, Darrell, this is where everyone feels good. They have those new tires on there, and it'll drive good for about 2 laps.
Yeah, this is where the term Mr. Feel Goods came from, right here. That'll fix a car here better than anything I know of.
But, Darrell, it's a Band-Aid. New tires are only temporary.
Very temporary.
And if you try to, you know, take it easy on your tires, no way. You can't. You go as hard as you can. You get as much out of them as you can because they're going to fall off, and get all you can while you can.
Jamie McMurray puts the Haviland Dodge past the Goodwrench Chevy of Kevin Harvick. Right behind them, Harvick's teammate Jeff Burton in the Singular Chevrolet. Time for our Singular Virtual Crew Chief results. You can participate in our next poll for a chance to drive away in your own number 31 car. Most fans think Jimmy Johnson will not repeat tonight.
Pretty difficult to do. I mean, to win 2 in a row here is pretty fantastic, but to try to win 3 in a row, it's pretty much unheard of.
But Jeff Burton in the 31 cars, we still ride with him. He's won races at this racetrack. He knows, regardless of what spoilers on the back of the car, regardless of what tire, what that car needs to feel like. Didn't qualify that great back in 34th, but I think he has a good race package under this car.
I talked to him there, he was somewhat concerned after the way his Busch car ran last night. It wasn't very good, and they are very similar on setup, so he wasn't sure.
Go clear, out of way, buddy, out of way.
But he felt like he would be okay. He didn't know if he'd be great or not.
That's Carl Edwards right behind Jeff Burton. We mentioned Buddy Baker won here in 1970 in one of those winged wonders, the Dodge Charger Daytonas. How are our Chargers doing this evening here at Darlington as daylight turns to dusk? Mayfield, Kane, and Newman, the first 3.
Elliott Sadler in that 38 car, though, he is trying so hard to get up there and try to get by Greg Biffle. I've been watching him. He really drives the car down in the corner. He's maybe a little better in turn 3 and 4 than Biffle, but I think Biffle's a little better maybe in 1 and 2.
Darrell, if you have to set your car up for one end or the other, do you want to be better in the big end of the racetrack, turn 1 and 2, or in the smaller corner, turns 3 and 4?
Well, it used to be that you worked really hard on turns 1 and 2, because if you could get through there pretty decent, they gave you good straightaway speed. Then down here in 3 and 4, you've got some options. You run up next to the wall, or if your car's really good, you can hang around the bottom a little bit. So you've got a little option in 3 and 4. No option in 1 and 2. Pretty much single file. So I go for 1 and 2, get my car good there. I'll deal with it down here on the other end.
But DW, when we think about this racetrack, how do you have to drive it if you want to keep those tires on that race car?
Yeah, just like you got an egg under the old gas pedal. You know how you drive this joint.
You got to let her float in and gentle off if you want to make those tires last. You got to take care of them. Because as you pointed out earlier, those are your 4 best friends right now. You got to take care of them, buddies.
And stay off the brakes, because brakes do you very little good here. I mean, obviously you need brakes, but don't ride the brakes down in the corner. It just pushes the nose up the hill.
Dale Earnhardt Jr. 16th after starting this race back in 39th position.
But Jeff, remember that carburetor? We used to run a carburetor here with what we call progressive linkage. I mean, you had to get the thing almost to the floor before the back barrels would kick in and get it wide open, just for that very reason, so you could kind of soft pedal it.
Yeah, you would, because, again, you've got to drive and you've got to kind of like approach Darlington different than any other racetrack. As we watched Dale Earnhardt Jr. go underneath Kenny Schrader, having that realization of understanding how to attack the lady is so important. You got to have respect for her, otherwise you're going to get in trouble.
Dick Bergman with more.
A few laps ago, Junior keyed his radio and told his crew the car is good. I'm just taking care of my stuff. Good news for Junior fans.
But I'm going to tell you who just made a good move, Elliott Sadler in that 38 car. We've been talking about Jeremy Mayfield in the 19. He caught him on the straightaway, and Elliott Sadler, you know what? We can lose a lot less time if I let him pass me on the straightaway rather than go side by side through 3 and 4.
And I think you saw down there coming off of turn 4, Larry, what I was talking about. Elliott was much lower on the racetrack than Jeremy was. You got that option down in 3 and 4. Got to be pretty precise exiting turn 2.
Working past Hermie Sadler, who's number 66, is 6 laps down.
See Jimmy Johnson there in the 48 car. The biggest gain he made was on that pit stop a while ago. Remember Byron Graphic, he picked up 4 positions.
There you go, and you see how Elliott just pulls down. Jeremy goes by. See how they maintain their momentum.
Yeah, that pass didn't cost Sadler an inch.
And that's how you race this track. Hard to teach these guys that. You can tell them, but they got to experience it.
Those 2 guys start racing side by side, that 16 car will get smaller and smaller.
You lose so much time, you lose a second a lap when you get to running side by side here. Plus, you take a big chance on wrecking.
The point leader moving up, Jimmy Johnson up to 4th place. And he's just about half a second behind Sadler.
Now, all that courtesy and all that co-opetition and all that stuff, that goes out the window later in the night. But right now, that's how you race the joint to get to the end.
So you're saying as it gets closer and closer to closing time, to close the deal, things get a little more desperate.
Yeah. What happened? That's what you'll hear. Earlier, you didn't do that.
Pretty much what we saw in the Busch Series race last night. See Jeff Gordon in the 24 car going by Ryan Newman in 12. That was a battle for the 6th position.
Here's Matt.
Newman said after the stop the car felt a lot better, and Jeff Gordon in the 24 hasn't said a whole lot on the radio since his stop, but before he gave a huge description, a long list of what the race car is doing. It was tight early on, but then as the pace dropped off, he said it got looser and looser, and I quote, he says, the car just was not squishing in the track. Not enough speed to get it to compress the way he wanted to, but he is slowly chasing down those leaders up to 6th.
Well, forward bite. I mean, that's what you fight here, trying to get the car to turn and still have enough forward grip to put the gas down. That's the big issues here.
And a lot of times, if you can fix the front grip, you can help the forward bite, because you've got the wheel turn, and all of a sudden the front bites, the rear wants to come around.
Look who's been very impressive here in the early going. In the Kellogg's number 5, Kyle Busch running a very solid 8th place right now, Steve.
That's a fact, Mike. Just 20 years old, making his very first Nextel Cup start here, as Dick Bergman said earlier. They made just a very small adjustment. As you watch Elliott Sadler and Casey Kane battle, Kyle Busch made a very small adjustment. Air pressure, his car's been just a little bit tight as Kane goes by the 38 of Sadler.
You know, Kyle Busch in the 5, he was pretty impressive in those 2 Busch Series races here last year. Now, as Steve mentioned, this is his first Nextel Cup start. A lot of seat time last year, though.
Kurt Busch trying to get back on track, trying to get onto the pit road, and they've got to back up the pace car to let him out. They do, and he will rejoin the race. Busch is 58 laps down after being caught up spinning out on lap 1.
And back to Kyle Busch just a little bit. I mean, he's starting to string together pretty impressive runs. You think about Phoenix, they were in Las Vegas. They've had some pretty impressive runs here recently.
61 laps complete by 1.5 seconds. Greg Biffle is your leader in Darlington. Nightfall descends on Darlington County in South Carolina. Jeff Gordon has moved into 5th, displacing Elliott Sadler. There's a beautiful view of the egg-shaped original super speedway of NASCAR, where they've been racing since 1950. Greg Biffle is our leader. He's been out in front now by 1.3 seconds over Jeremy Mayfield. And perhaps one of the reasons Biffle runs so well here is that to him, this track has a familiar characteristic.
It's kind of like a dirt track. It gets what we like to call a cushion or whatever, about a foot from the wall and 9 inches from the wall, and you'll be running. That's where the tires, the body is outside the tires. So we're running probably 3 inches from the wall. But if you get that tire onto that loose marbly rubber, a little bit of sand built up, it'll suck in the fence in a hurry. That's where everybody gets the stripe from. It's like, how close can I get? How much racetrack can I use up and not have to pay the price?
Mike, I talked to Biffle. He ran the Busch race last night. He said a couple of things that stuck out to him. One, the lights on the inside of the track flicker. As you go by them, they flicker on your windshield. The other thing was, he said that the windshields are getting really beaten up from the sand and the rubber. And the other thing that he told me was where they put the soft wall, that 36 inches, is where all the grip was. And so now when you get up there, you've not got that cushion that you once had. Now watch the lights as he goes by down. This is in Jason Leffler's car. Watch the lights as he goes down the back straightaway here. And Biffle was telling me how that flickers, and it's kind of really distracting. See him on the inside over there? It's almost like flash bulbs.
The Musco people designed those reflectors, Darrell, so they shine on the cars, and they're supposed to be outside the driver's peripheral vision. But you're right, it's a strobe effect, kind of off the windshield post, anything else inside the car.
Tell you what, I know a lot of fans didn't think Jimmy Johnson in that 48 car could win 3 in a row here, but he's making a statement. He's up there battling Jeremy Mayfield in the 19 car. This will be a battle for second, and I've been watching him. I think they made some good adjustments on this car that first stop. Remember, he ran the Busch race last night. I think he learned a lot of things about this racetrack last night, and as we say, he is a comer.
He just has a history, Larry, of dominating particular racetracks. Charlotte comes to mind. Dover comes to mind. A couple other tracks where he's won back-to-back races.
Where you're good, you're good. How about the man he's tracking, Jeremy Mayfield? Matt?
19 car Mayfield running laps faster than the leader by about 2 to 3/10 of a second. He did come on the radio and told Slugger Labby about 4 laps ago, the car is starting to get a little too tight. Remember, they didn't make any adjustments on their first stop back on lap 41. If you wonder why he always runs well here, had a dominant car in the late 90s. His mentor, Cale Yarborough, who he drove for at one time, won here 5 times, Dick.
Jimmy Johnson does indeed like the adjustments that were made in the last pit stop. He called his crew, told him the car was a little bit free, but that it is much better. His focus is on the end of the race, and he is convinced that the adjustments that they are making, the direction in which they are going with this car, will put him in contention at the checkered flag.
Thanks, Dick. He's about 1.1 seconds behind race leader Greg Biffle. Carl Long, who had a great qualifying effort here, starting 21st, has taken the Buyer's Choice Auto Warranty Chevy to the garage.
You know, another car we want to update is Dale Earnhardt Jr. We talked about him, started back in the 39th position. I think through virtue of that car being awfully good on long runs, you see Jimmy Johnson there on the right taking over second place for Jeremy Mayfield. But now Dale Earnhardt Jr. in the 8 car, he's about to crack the top 10. He's in 11th. I think they made good adjustments on that car that first pit stop.
Junior is 10.2 seconds off the lead, which puts him about 1.5 seconds behind Carl Edwards.
The car right behind him, though, Elliott Sadler in the 38, the M&M's car, he continues to go backwards. I think they need a caution here pretty quick to make some adjustments on that car.
Got to be hard, Darrell, to hear that you're going 180 miles an hour and they tell you you're going backwards. Steve?
Yeah, listen to Elliott Sadler just a second ago, guys. He said this car has gotten bad tight everywhere.
And it seems like that maybe is the trend right now. You heard Dick Berggren talking about Brian Vickers, is the fact that now the racetrack is cooling down. Yeah, as we spoke, it's losing grip, but it sounds like the cars are getting tighter and tighter. The front ends are not going to turn.
Yeah, what happens is here you start sliding that right front, Larry. You build up a lot of air pressure in that tire. You make that tire mad, and the car won't turn, particularly off of turn 2.
171 down the straightaway for Ryan Newman.
This is a battle for the 8th position right here. And we no longer have a battle for the lead. It didn't last long. Jimmy Johnson in the 48, he just drives by Greg Biffle in the 16.
Car looks so good. It's smooth. It's not bouncing. It's not jumping. You see his hands in there. He's not fighting with it.
So, did Greg Biffle say, go ahead out there and use your stuff up for a while?
I think so. I think Greg run here last night. I think he got a good handle on this joint. I talked to him for a long time today. He really talked like he knew what he really understands the racetrack.
Right now he has his hands full of Jeremy Mayfield, though, in that 19 car. I think Jeremy has a good race car. Jimmy Johnson's just that much better.
Well, here's a battle. And there again, you see Carl going by for 10th place.
You know, Carl Edwards ran well here in the fall. Finished in the top 10 in this 99 car, and he's picking up right where he left off in the fall race.
You would hate to be a throttle spring here because you'd be really tired at the end of the night.
These guys are going to be tired right here if they keep going like they're going. Remember, earlier in the race, Jeff Green in the 43, Michael Waltrip in the 15 got together at the end of the backstretch. Now Michael's back out there 34 laps down.
And here's what just happened a moment ago.
Yeah, come on up here. Yeah. Just a little, a couple of boys from Owensboro just, you know, telling each other, doing a good job, dude, keep it up.
Those two cars this year, though, have had a magnetic attraction for one another.
Homies.
And Michael just out there right now just trying to make laps, log laps.
And this is a terrible place to be in a car that's not competitive and won't keep up. You're in the way all the time.
And you can't get out of the way.
And, yeah, you go high and they go under. You go low and they go everywhere. Whoa, got a car here, 43 car.
Trouble for Jeff Green. Now, in the lap 1 incident with Michael Waltrip, Green brings out the caution as he slows to under 100 miles an hour here. And when Jeff Green came in for repairs to the nose of his car, there was steam coming from the overflow at the base of the windshield, indicating potential for radiator trouble. Not sure that's what's happened to him.
No, I just saw a big cloud of smoke come out of it, like engine smoke, but not sure. Could have been tire smoke. She does put up a big fume of smokes here coming off down the front straightaway. Yikes. They'll do that when you get them that sideways. That's just pretty good job of saving it, really. All that is a bunch of tire smoke.
Darrell, I'm going to speculate here. Is that possibly, do you think maybe that some water ran out of that car and he got in his own water?
I don't think so, Larry. That looked like he just got bad loose, almost like it had a tire going down as much as anything. Look at it. Let's see what we see here. Maybe see if you see if you see water. I'll see if I see anything else. Coming off the corner there, and he just gets bad loose. Fortunately for him, I think Strader probably, he hit the wall.
He got into the wall. Got into the wall.
Ricky Rudd gets through there, and let's go down with the South Park billboard, pit board, and Steve Burns.
Kyle Busch says, I need to turn just a little bit better. They said one round of fight out of the right rear. Otherwise, he loves the way this race car is handling for the 20-year-old.
Best car he's ever had in Darlington, I bet you.
You think?
I love it when those rookie guys tell me that this is the best car I've ever had here. How many times have you been here? Twice. Here's Dick.
And Jimmy Johnson just got a little bit of a wedge adjustment in the left rear. You're talking about different cars. He won 2 races last year with 2 different cars. This is a different car yet. And that.
The 19 on the bottom of your screen, Jeremy Mayfield entered pit road in the 4th position. Service is already completed. Got into the wall earlier. Slight damage to the right front. Just barely cosmetic damage. They made a number of adjustments. The car had gone tight.
Here you see our race off pit road. You see right there, Casey Kane in the 9 gained 2 positions, Jeff Gordon 4. But I was watching this 8 car really gained a lot of positions, as well as Ryan Newman, Elliott Sadler, and Jamie McMurray, all 3 positions. And there you see the times right there, including the pit stop. Jeff Gordon, as well as Dale Earnhardt Jr., the fastest times. Greg Biffle and Jeremy Mayfield struggling just a little bit.
We'll have to find out what happened on Biffle's stop, because clearly he was the big loser on that round of pit stops. 4th caution of the night. And night has fully descended on Darlington, South Carolina. First time we've run under the lights at Darlington. And Jimmy Johnson handily wins the race off pit road. Casey Kane, Jeff Gordon, Mayfield, Sterling Marlin. There's Biffle, along with Newman, Earnhardt. 4 caution flags so far as we get set for the restart. Nighttime at Darlington, South Carolina. Jimmy Johnson out front. Casey Kane, Jeff Gordon, Jeremy Mayfield, Sterling Marlin, Greg Biffle. Matt Kenseth had to come back in, make a late pit stop. He's working from the back of the pack forward. Marlin goes after, or rather McMurray gets passed by Harvick. Here's Jeff Gordon side by side for second with Casey Kane.
And what happened, it started all the way off turn 2. He got a better run off turn 2 down the backstretch, and it took all the way to turn 1 to complete the pass.
And there you see Jeremy looking under Casey Kane. Casey would have been wise to lift it in the middle of that turn and let him go, because see what it does to him? He raced Jeremy through there. How many spots is he going to lose?
At least 3, maybe 4.
Just places where you got to let people go to keep you losing more spots.
Now, we talked about Greg Biffle, who lost 4 spots in the pits. Why, Dick?
Because the car was so loose, Mike, that they decided to put a spring rubber in the left rear corner of the car to tighten it up. That takes a bit of extra time, and that's what cost him the 4 spots.
But definitely, this was the time of the race to make that adjustment. Don't wait till it's too late in the race, but he's definitely headed back to the front. As he goes by Sterling Marlin in the 40s, that's 4th position.
And as the track changes, Larry, that's the kind of things you need to be able to do. That's when we talk about a car that's very adjustable. That's a good thing to do right now. Get on top of it before it gets worse.
Well, he's almost already back to where he was before the caution came out.
And he looks much faster now. He's getting off the corner like a little better than he was before that caution.
Another real loser on a pit stop on that last caution was Kyle Busch in the 5, who'd been up in the top 10. We're getting a report from our guys that he had a lug nut that was hung. He's back in 14th right now. Steve Burns.
Larry Mack, they did have a problem on that right front, but Kyle Busch showing a lot of maturity for a 20-year-old. He said, boys, don't worry about it. We get another long green run. It's game on. We're good tonight.
There's Kyle on your left as Kevin Harvick takes 11th from the number 2 of Rusty Wallace.
Yeah, he's been working on Rusty, and Rusty kind of went up the hill and let him go. That's good racing.
Harvick's got a good car tonight. He just hasn't had good track position yet.
I think he's one of those cars that could use some long green runs. He started back in the 24th position, trying to get up in the top 10 now as he's back in the 11th position.
With that yellow car there, though, Kyle Busch, that thing is hooked up, Larry. It gets up off of both corners about as good as anybody here.
We talked about the track temperature at the beginning of the race. You can see right there, it's already down a good 5, 6, 7, 8 degrees, as well as the air temperature. And once again, that just gives a little more grip to the racetrack. These cars will pick up speed because they're gripping the racetrack better. Still not gripping the racetrack great, but better.
Yeah, and they don't. One of the things it does, they quit sliding so much, which will make the tires last a little bit longer.
Biffle knifes to the inside of Mayfield and moves up to third. Our next Singular Wireless virtual crew chief question coming at you. To vote, text the word crew to 191 on your Singular Wireless phone or go to foxsports.com. What's the biggest challenge here? Race the racetrack, dodge the lap cars, or save your tires?
Well, this racetrack is where the term race the track came from. That's what you said every time you came here. Forget the competition. Race the lady in black, but she's the one who beat you.
And on that saving tires, I think if you got a good race car, you go ahead and run it to its capacity, because what happens if it's ill handling, if it's pushing the nose, yeah, you will burn the right front. If it's loose, you're going to burn the right rear, but if that car's good, go on and do what you got to do.
And Larry, I'll guarantee you this. You run this race all night, and you keep that car out of the wall. I don't forget everything else. Keep it out of the wall, you'll get you a top 10 finish.
Yes, sir.
23rd place at stake here. That's Casey Mears in the Target 41. The 10 up by the wall is the Valvoline Chevy of Scott Riggs, and there's Jeff Green in the midst of that in the 43. Greg Biffle passing Jeff Gordon and moving right back up into contention.
Yeah, they made his car happy. That rubber in the left rear has fixed him right up.
And that just increases that left rear spring weight, and the hope's biting the car where he can put the throttle down and drive it off the corner.
Biffle came in here fourth in the Next Tough Cup championship standings. He'd been second for many weeks, but dropped a couple of spots, whereas Johnson is the current point leader. They run 1-2.
And this right here is a battle for 28. See Dave Blaney in the 07 car. Travis Quaffle in the 77 actually went up and brushed the wall in qualifying. And Kenny Wallace there in the 00 car. All these cars still own the lead lap.
Now, that's Brother Mike's car. Kenny's driving the Brian Hot Dog car tonight, and Kenny, did a great job. Qualified 20th in that car. Oh, Kenny!
Hang on.
Car just got loose with it.
Hang on to it.
Caution is out.
Fun, boys. He's fun. 17 tagged. Didn't hit nothing.
They're claiming contact.
Get it running. Get it running. Caution's out.
From Matt Kenseth.
Don't kill the tires now. Hang on to it.
Trying to get going before the leaders come around. Of course, the field is frozen once the caution is out. He just has to maintain caution speed.
I think he may have killed those tires long before they told him not to.
Now, Kenny moonlights for Speed Channel and set a new record today, interviewing himself for about 18 minutes on the air with John Roberts.
Yeah, occasionally when Kenny gets on there, a show will,
Four tires.
A show will break out during his interview.
Let's see what happens to Kenny.
I think he's all by himself. I don't see anybody touch him.
No.
Now that's one of those times, Larry, when the driver will swear the track moved.
So that claim disproven, and Wallace falls victim to the lady in black, which already on lap 1 sent Kurt Busch to the garage for repairs, and on lap 7, Michael Waltrip with help from Jeff Green.
Boys, he's fun. 17 tagged.
Well, he spun, but he didn't get tagged.
Well, it's been 11 laps since the last pit stop, Steve. Here they come again, buddy.
Got to get those new tires, Larry Mack. Sterling Marlin says the car is pretty good. He wants to make sure that they clean the grill on his race car. It's been 105 races between wins for Marlin. His last win coming here in 2002. Dick.
Jimmy Johnson says the nose is dragging the ground a little bit in turns 1 and 2. Other than that, the car is pretty good all the way around the racetrack. I guess he has been leading the event for some considerable number of laps, Matty.
Jeff Gordon angled the car slightly to help with his exit. They were talking about a wedge adjustment on the radio as they come around to the left side of the cars. Johnson in the 48 and Biffle in the 16 are out.
I'm going to tell you what, it is frantic on the pit road when everybody's trying to get out and get in front of each other and stop and block, and it's what a mess.
Well, we have 38 cars on the pit road at one time.
And And the pit road is segmented. There are two areas that separate groups of pits. Here's a look at the race-off pit road, won by Greg Biffle, but yeah, it gets pretty close back in here. Jeff Gordon's DuPont crew got him out second.
That 96 crew getting her done.
500 on Fox is brought to you by Visa, proud sponsor of NASCAR. By the next Ford F-150, built Ford tough. By new Q from Quaker State, the heat-activated oil that helps maximize the power of your engine. And by Allstate, official partner of NASCAR. Lady in Black, Jimmy Johnson, has won the last two. He said, I don't think I've tamed her. I've just become decent friends with her, and we're going to try and keep it that way. How's it going tonight?
Well, so far he's done extremely well. He's running third right now, but the thing about this racetrack, hey, remember the other nickname is it's too tough to tame. You've got to always respect this lady.
Greg Biffle leading Jeff Gordon, ready to go green. Mike?
98 laps complete, 99 this time by. Michael Waltrip got the free pass to put him only 32 laps down, but he's back on pit road under repair and will miss this restart. So we're single file with Waltrip and Kurt Busch, who is 59 laps down, the only lapped cars on the racetrack. Jeff Gordon's got a run off turn 2. He's going to close that gap in a hurry on Biffle entering 3.
And that's where he was so strong on the last restart, was off turn 2, and he gets that run through 3 and 4, and he pulls underneath. Greg Biffle has no choice. He'll drag race him, but I think Jeff Gordon has the position to get into turn 1.
This will be a hard issue to force here, and Biffle crosses under.
He's trying to cross over on him. Got the nose up there, but I wouldn't do that now. That's good. That's good. That's for later. Maybe later.
Looks like for a moment there, Casey Kane in the 9 had a run on Jimmy Johnson in the 48, but Casey has to fall back in behind him.
It's just amazing how all these, look at this wad of cars right here up front. On new tires, they're all very equal. The difference is who goes where as they run a few laps.
Mike, you talked about Kevin Harvick in that 29 car a while ago. If he could just get the track position, I think he has a car that can get up there and contend. He's sitting in the 8th position right now.
Sterling Marlin right behind him. Stronger, I think, than he has shown so far. And rookie Kyle Busch continuing to have a great race in 10th place.
Riding with Dale Earnhardt Jr. Right now, he's back in the 12th position. Unlike the first time those guys were on pit road, he lost positions the last time. We see Kevin Harvick drive by Elliott Sadler for 7th.
And guess what? Greg Biffle just drove by, put the crossover move on Mr. Gordon, and got the lead back. Told you he'd do it later.
Well, I was thinking later meant much.
Yeah, I was thinking later on in the evening, maybe, but Biffle doesn't wait.
No, you're right.
Gets a shot at him, he takes it. To run on him right here, and I think Jeff says, hey, dude, that wasn't really a crossover move. That was just a power move.
But mission accomplished for that 24 car, 5 points for leading the lap.
Gordon on his drive for 5, trying to win a 5th Nextel Cup championship. He came in here 3rd in the points. We go night racing again next Saturday. We'll be on FX.
Oh, yeah.
From Richmond, Virginia. An action-packed 3/4-mile track.
Yeah.
Short track racing.
I love Richmond, man. That's fun racing right there. It's like Bristol without all the banking.
Here goes Harvick.
It's another position, goes by Ryan Newman in the 12. That moves him up to 6th position.
Oh, Harv got her wound up. Now look at him accelerate off that corner in front of Ryan Newman there.
Rusty Wallace trying to hold off Harvick's teammate Jeff Burton in the 31. This will be for 15th.
You hear him there having to play with the throttle. Gets alongside of Rusty. Can't quite make the pass.
Once you get laps on your tires, you almost have to be all the way up on the straightaway before you put that throttle down 100%.
Now, he can get a run across here on him, but Rusty's got to cut him a little slack or he can't make it. It slows them both down. It wouldn't surprise me to see somebody go under both of them.
That somebody could be Joe Nemechek.
There you go.
Clear. Out of way, buddy. Out of way. You get your rhythm back, drive away from them.
The 38 car, Elliott Sadler, I think he goes off of fresh tires only for about 4 or 5 laps, and he just lost 2 positions. Dale Earnhardt Jr. is going to try to get 2 positions, and he will on one straightaway.
There again, the 99-38 racing each other off the corner. They got to pedal those things, and here comes Junior with the run. He timed it just right, made the great pass.
Very rare you can pass 2 cars at one time here.
Well, he was running his lap, racing the racetrack, knew when he had to get back in the gas. He was in the gas way before those other guys.
He anticipated. He anticipated that he stayed off of him. He gets the run, he makes the pass. Man, those things are flying, isn't it? Good grief. 180 mile an hour here, right at it.
Look how close to the wall.
Well, let's see what our expert panel of viewers decided. What was the most difficult thing about racing at Darlington as Jeff Gordon goes underneath Greg Biffle. Made it look easy.
Well, I think they're taking turns lead right now. You lead a while, I'll lead a while. You get a good run, I'll let you go.
Race the racetrack and save your tires.
That's it.
Never mind the lap cars. Now, if we ask this question again at about 400 miles, that answer could be different.
Yeah, well, I always told Hammond, you make the car handle better, the tires will last longer.
Did he ever listen?
No.
But, Darrell, it's up to you to put that egg underneath that throttle, my friend, and save them tires. I'll make the car work for you. Just keep telling me what you want.
Oh, Jeff, if you're going to make an omelet, you got to break a few eggs.
That's a good way to look at it, Mike.
Tony Stewart put a little pressure on the Army car of Joe Nemechek.
Tony had a good qualifying run on Friday, qualified back in 15th, but when the green flag dropped early in the race, he fell back. Now he's starting to work his way back up. He's up to the 18th position now, but he fell back about as low as about 27th, 28th at one point.
He and Kenny Schrader spent a lot of the first 100 miles running nose to tail, 2 veteran open wheelers.
Tony hadn't had a top 10 here in the last 3 races. So you can lose the handle on this joint. Just like Jimmy Johnson's found it, you can lose it here.
Tell you what, right behind Tony Stewart, though, Ricky Rudd in that 21 car, he's back in the 19th position, making his 57th Darlington start. He knows how to finish. 25 top 10 finishes here.
Came here with his dad's car at age 18 as a rookie. You see the Home Depot Chevy, Tony Stewart, move underneath Joe Nemechek, and that'll move Stewart up to 17th. And Jimmy Johnson, the point leader, takes 2nd place from Greg Biffle. 2 Hendrick Chevrolets leading the Roush Ford, leading the 2 Ray Evernham Dodges of Mayfield and Kane. So Chevy, Ford, and Dodge. Let's go to Casey's pit. Here's Matt.
On board with Casey Kane in the 9. Now Tommy Baldwin made a wedge adjustment on the last stop. The pole sitter just cannot seem to find the right balance. But when you look out the windshield, look at how white the walls are. A long-standing tradition here at Darlington. After every day, they'd never repaint the walls. They want to keep the walls looking nice and black. But last night, after the NASCAR Busch Series race, so many drivers said they had a hard time seeing the walls because so many guys picked up Darlington stripes last night that they went out and repainted the walls. Broke a long-standing tradition where they never paint the walls over the course of a NASCAR weekend here. They look pretty white, almost, again tonight.
But you know, Matty, one of the things that Greg Biffle was telling me is over here in turn 4, right where these lead cars are coming off now, there's a shadow, right? The wall has got a shadow up next to it, and you can't tell how close to the wall you are.
You can see it right there, Darrell.
Kind of the opposite problem that they had at Dover, where you couldn't tell the wall from the white concrete. They had to paint a black line at the base of it. Maybe we need a reflective line at the base or something.
Jeff Gordon leads 120 laps in. Time for a Visa race break here at Darlington. And Friday night in the Busch race, Brian Vickers, who started 5th tonight in the 57 car, having some problems on the very start of the race. A little help from Presley behind there. It was a sign of things to come because tonight, just beginning the 2nd lap, Kurt Busch. Jeff Gordon was close. This was Kurt Busch, second at points into the wall. He did return to the track some 58 laps down. Another caution within the first 7 laps. Jeff Green gets into Michael Waltrip. Michael got back into the race and afterwards said, Mom said, you don't have anything nice to say about somebody, don't say anything at all. So he didn't say much. Jeff Gordon passing Greg Biffle for the lead. And Jeff Gordon has that lead. Gordon has called Darlington the toughest track on the calendar. And he said with the safer walls here, there's 30 less inches of racer room that they used to have before.
Yeah, and that does make a big difference because you run up against the wall here at Darlington, unlike a lot of other racetracks where you normally see these guys down on that yellow line. They use every inch of the racetrack, and they'd like to have, maybe 1 or 2 more inches back as far as where that safer barrier is.
8 leaders, 12 lead changes. This has been a Visa race break. Mike?
We are 1/3 distance in the Dodge Charger 500 at Darlington, the very first nighttime race at Darlington, South Carolina, and the only Nextel Cup race they'll have at this track this year. Mark Martin going past Dale Earnhardt Jr. at 11th place. The Hendrick cars run 1-2, Jeff Gordon and point leader Jimmy Johnson. Rick Hendrick and his team have had 15 career 1-2 finishes, but never here.
Well, they've had 8 different winners in the last 9 races here. Jimmy Johnson's won 2 of them, but there've been 8 different winners in the last 9 races. So that makes me wonder about Jimmy's chances for winning 3 in a row.
See right there, we have 3 of the Hendrick cars up in the top 8. Brian Vickers, the other Hendrick car, the 4th one back in 30th position. Qualified good, just looked like did not get that car ready to race as it should.
And to keep you up on the long day's journey into night for the drivers who crashed early, Kurt Busch is back on track 59 laps down. He's gained just 1 position. And Michael Waltrip 36 laps down. He has gained 4 positions. So he's running 39th. First car off the lead lap, but a long night.
And this is kind of an interesting statistic. Only 13 of the 101 races that have been run here, there are only 13 times has a car outside the top 10 won this race. So that gives Jimmy a chance because he qualified, what, Larry, 8th or 9th. And I think that may not bode well for the 24 because he was outside the top 10.
Qualified 14th, which was highly unusual for him, but this is the first time we've had an impound race here.
2 more teammates from Chip Ganassi racing with Felix Sabates, the 40 of Sterling Marlin and the 42 of Jamie McMurray for 10th place. For the lead, point leader Jimmy Johnson.
Clear high. Awesome job, Jimmy. Way to be smart and take care of them, man. Take off every run.
That was cooperation because they are teammates. Now, when Biffle and Jeff Gordon were doing that, that would be more like co-opetition.
But the way they did it, Darrell, is Greg Biffle in the 16 running in 3rd. He did not gain any ground on those guys the way they handled that lead change.
When guys understand this racetrack and know how to run it, it's a thing of beauty. They can pass and do things, and it looks so easy, so effortless.
Right now, we're about halfway through this fuel or tire run, so this is where these cars, this is one about the longest runs we've had, long green run, and this is where these cars really start sliding around.
Kevin Harvick keeps picking them off in that Richard Childress Chevy. He moves past Jeremy Mayfield, and that's 5th place.
And Ryan Newman in the 12 would like to take advantage of this as well, but he's going to have to fall back in behind Jeremy Mayfield. But once again, Darrell, we've talked about him several times behind Ryan Newman in that 5 car, Kyle Busch. He just keeps getting better every week. I think him and his crew chief, Alan Gustafson, they're really coming together now about 10 races into this season.
I think it's confidence. I think they're really getting a lot of confidence.
Well, we listened in on the 5 team.
All right, for some reason, I'm a little bit tighter than what I was last run at this point. Last run, I was rotating pretty good on 2. This time I can't get it turned down there good enough in order to exit properly. 10-4, we'll fix you up there. Just be smooth with it.
Now, what's interesting, a lot of teams would put a young driver like Kyle Busch with a veteran crew chief. Rick Hendrick chose not to do that. Alan Gustafson is not one of the older crew chiefs on pit road.
No, not at all, but it seems like it's worked out so far as they have spent time together.
But I think the reason that the car's not as good this time as it was the last run at this point is I think the racetrack has went through a transition as night has fallen and the racetrack has started to really cool down.
Two drivers picking up pieces. One is the 29 of Kevin Harvick, who has moved up to 5th place, and the other Tony Stewart, who has just crept into the top 15. Matt?
Tony Stewart's a fierce competitor on the racetrack, passionate about his racing, but also very passionate about his family, and he has his priorities in line. Even when he was a 10-year-old go-kart racer, his mom, Pam, walked across the stage with him today, and she brought along a little memento back when he was 10 years old. He gave her this very card on Mother's Day, showing he had his priorities in line. Even though I love you, he wrote, racing, even though I love racing, I love you better. Happy Mother's Day. So Tony the Tiger goes to show you he is a softie, and I would be remiss if I didn't wish my mom and grandmother happy Mother's Day as well.
Yeah, you know, she's a sweet lady, Tony's mom is. She runs his fan club, his internet site. He and his, I think it's his sister, they run that all together. It's a family operation, what racing's all about. Now, my mom, Margaret Jean Waltrip, she's not going to be very happy because she came down here to see Michael run tonight, and I don't think she got her money's worth.
It's a long way to go, Darrell. Hang in there.
Wherever you go, you going for his 3rd straight win here. Enter the weekly Gillette Young Guns Challenge. One lucky fan who correctly picks the top, placing Gillette Young Gun each week, wins $5,000. Log on to GilletteYoungGuns.com for details. Enter for a chance to win the Gillette Young Gun Challenge, brought to you by M3 Power, the world's best shave. Kevin Harvick, as we got a look at some of the drivers there, Jeff Hammond, currently running 8th, part of Richard Childress Racing. Dave Blaney in the 07 Drink Responsible car is 25th. It'll take a Giacomo-like effort for him to pull this out. And Richard Childress was at the Kentucky Derby earlier today.
Yeah, Richard Childress was at the Kentucky Derby. I mean, when you think about it right now, Chris, the Kentucky Derby, one of the most historic horse races in our country, along with Darlington, one of our historic tracks. He got an opportunity to attend both of these events. He got here about 8 o'clock, was a little bit late, but he gave me a call and said he had a great time and he really enjoyed being up there for that prestigious event.
Here with us now, watching some exciting racing as we return to Mike, Darrell, and Larry.
You know, the runoff turn 4, I call it turn 4. Okay, the final turn at Churchill Downs that came off 9 wide for the lead looked like Talladega in today's running of the Derby. Giacomo, the winner.
And when I saw that Giacomo was in the race, I was telling some of the guys, there was a driver named Giacomo. And,
from Poughkeepsie, New York, one of the best modified racers ever. You're right, Darrell. I blew it. I always look for a racing connection to pick a Derby horse, and I forgot about something.
If I was a gambling man, I would have bet money on the Giacomo.
Jimmy Johnson out front by 1.5 seconds on Casey Kane. Jeff Gordon, Greg Biffle, Carl Edwards. And back at 13th spot now is Jeremy Mayfield, Casey Kane's teammate, about to be inhaled by Tony Stewart. Here's Matt.
Almost half a lap behind the leader, Jeremy Mayfield, one of the best cars earlier, may have some kind of tire problem. Slugger Labby looked at the left side tires a few laps ago. Jeremy came back by, pulled down a little more off the wall, so his spotter up on top of the grandstands, Dale Cagle, could get a good look at the right side tires. Said they looked okay. Jeremy's hanging on, but right now they are very concerned about a possible tire problem on the 19th.
When you lose grip, you saw how his car hit those little bumps up there in the middle of 1 and 2. The car starts to move around. You don't have enough grip. All you can do is just fight it. See how he's bouncing through those bumps? That's his lack of grip.
And, Darrell, this is the longest green run we've had. We're about 15 or 20 laps from those green flag stops, and that's what Jeremy Mayfield's looking for right now.
He's just out of tires.
But I'm going to tell you who's moving to the front. Carl Edwards in the 99. He just drives by Jeff Gordon in 24. That's 3rd position right there. This car is good on long runs.
Casey Mears has bounced his Target Dodge off the wall, and looks like the right front's down.
Off the gas to that corner.
And he was running in the 20th position.
Now, you heard him say, I was off the... when this thing takes off, you lose grip and it takes off, you can back off the gas, you can hit the brake, you can do what you want to. She's going to hit the fence. Looks
like Jeff Gordon, the 24 car, that car's maybe going away on him. A lot of pressure from Greg Biffle in the 16 car.
Well, you know, though, Larry, this is about the right time. You're just a few laps away. This is when you tell that driver what? Hang in there. You're going to pit here in about 10 more.
You've got what you got for just a little bit long.
Because you know, just like I do, he is squealing in that car right now.
How many more laps? How many more laps?
Biffle goes to fourth. And here comes Newman. Boy, Darrell, when the car goes away, like Jeff Gordon's is going now, there's nowhere to hide, is there?
And Mike, it's like you flip a switch. You're going along, you're pretty good shape. I'm all right. And then all of a sudden, like you flip the switch. Uh-oh.
Here's our boys again. Jeff Green in the 43, Michael Waltrip in the 15. Had the altercation early in the race going into turn 3, and they're still beating and banging on each other.
It's what you call messing. They're just messing with each other.
Here's what happened.
Just to aggravate.
That's all. You know, just kind of lets you know that, you know, I'm still mad. My mama may told me not to say anything bad, but I'm still mad.
And it may have been 140 laps ago, but I still remember.
I ain't forgot about you, dude.
Look at our winner from the Busch Series race last night. Matt Kenseth in the 17 started back in 31st when they dropped the green flag. He went forward, but Steve Burns, even though this Cup car has the same setup as the Busch Series car, not very good. He's about to get lapped.
He is Larry Mack, and they're going to pit this time around. They've gotten so bad. They've been loose most of the night, and they have no rear grip.
Well, what they're going to do is what we call short pit. That's pitting before you actually need to pit, and what his hopes are is that he will have those fresh tires. He will reap the benefits. He will cycle through the green flag stops, and then he'll get a caution back on the lead lap.
As soon as you get lapped, come to pit road. Don't come before, but as soon as you do, come to pit road. And then you see now he's coming to pit road.
Look at how the speeds, these are the average speeds per lap on Jimmy Johnson, have fell off over 40 laps as these tires wear. That car is 10 miles an hour slower per lap than it started this run.
Yeah, and let me tell you something else it is. It's a handful right now to keep it out of the fence and keep up the good speed.
Steve?
And Mike, pretty big changes for Matt Kenseth on that 17. Heard Robbie Reiser, crew chief, say they've made big air pressure adjustments. They also made a chassis adjustment. Again, his problem, no rear grip.
And we see it, Jeremy Mayfield in the 19 car thought he had a tire problem. He decided to short pit and come to pit road. Matt Yoakum.
And Slugger Labby waiting for his car to come around the bend to call him into his pit stall for service. You see him now pull into his stall. They were talking about some chassis adjustments. Let's see side air pressure. You can see Big Tank Probus, former college football player, make the chassis adjustment. The gas man puts in the second can. And he's away 14.8 seconds.
Elliott Sadler's in. Michael Waltrip has made a stop. He and Jeff Green had contact again as Michael came down the backstretch to pit. Carl Edwards going after the lead.
And I think Carl really learned a lot about this racetrack last night in the Busch race. I talked to him this morning, and things that he did last night that he knew he did wrong, racing in the wrong places, trying to pass in the wrong places, he's learned his lesson. He's doing a good job tonight.
Now, Darrell, we were talking earlier in the show, when it gets to the green flag stops, this is one of the most treacherous pit roads. The entrances, you can see it's all the way here, over here in turn 4, and what happens, you have to get down on the apron right here to get there, and that apron is very slick. You're trying to make up as much time as you can to get the pit road speeding line, but it gets very treacherous. It never fails. Someone misses pit road or spins out on that apron.
Yeah, what they did, Larry, is they went up there and they painted yellow lines on the apron, because drivers were having, you would miss the pit road here, and you'd spin out and hit the end of pit wall. So they've added some yellow lines down there in the turns 4 to show you where they come down onto the pit lane.
Carl Edwards is there. He can just about reach out and touch Jimmy Johnson. The question is, can he pass him?
Well, he doesn't want to touch him, that's for sure. No. Not right now, because they're both out there on pretty worn tires. You got to be real careful.
Starting to see more green flag stops. Looks like possibly Jeff Burton in the 31 car makes this green flag stop.
Here comes the 24. Now he's getting woed up. He's coming down on the apron.
And here comes Edwards. He's got the lead.
Got a pass for the lead.
And while we're watching that battle for the lead, right now this group, Carl Edwards running 33.18. Matt Kenseth with fresh tires, 31.94. A second and a half a lap faster.
So we'll see everybody on pit road shortly as Jeff Gordon comes down for his stop. Everyone hoping that these stops cycle through without a flag, without a caution. Matt's there.
Gordon said the car was wicked loose down in turns 1 and 2, and he was starting to lose the forward drive off down off of turn 4. They were talking about 1 round as far as the chassis adjustment. Gordon chimed in and said, no, do more, do as much as you can. 14 even for Gordon.
Gordon back out. Rick Biffle in on the right of your screen. On the left is Carl Edwards leading for the first time since he won in Atlanta. Here's Dick.
Well, Biffle had called for a new rubber in the left rear of the car. They changed one the last time he did it, but they didn't get it. A 13.8 stop for Biffle.
Comes Mark Martin in the 6th car. He's been running up in the top 10 in the 7th position. Comes to pit road for 4 tires. And this becomes a chess match because you see these guys starting to hit pit road with those 4 tires. We've already made note about how much faster they are. You just can't stay out there too long and give up because these guys are catching you so fast on those new tires.
Well, right now, though, the 99, the 48, the 9, those guys are doing a good job of getting everything they can out of this set of tires.
But this is the point in the race when the spotters earn their money because the cars on new tires are so fast they risk running over the cars on worn tires out on the track. Steve.
Murray Tim and Adam Davis changing tires on the number 5 of Kyle Busch. He, too, one of the drivers that said he had lost rear grip. 13.7 for Kyle Busch.
Sterling Marlin, the Coors Light Dodge, getting, like everyone, 4 tires and a full tank of fuel. Travis Quaffle has spun at the entrance of pit road. No flag.
But just remember, he's a rookie. He was making his very first green flag pit stop in a Nextel Cup race, and he missed pit road.
Yeah, and he just locked it down, trying to get it stopped. Gets all 4 tires just locked up and smoking, and he realizes he's in trouble.
He's not going to make the commit cone.
Can't get her woed up. Can't turn in.
And what happened, he stayed on the racetrack way too long. He was not down on that apron.
So he locked the brake up to keep from spinning out. Would he have been just as well off to gas it and keep going?
Well, I think what he was going to do was back up, and then he decided not to.
Good call. Rusty Wallace is in. Carl Edwards, the leader, is in with Casey Kane, Brian Vickers, Dale Earnhardt Jr., Kyle Petty making stops. Matt.
And the 99, Carl Edwards peels in. He was waiting to do what the 48 did. His car going to go for some wedge and air pressure, a little free on the gas. Meanwhile, Casey Kane has the Go Mango colored car in. Good stop going so far. As Rodney Rhodes with the gas can fills it up. And he's away.
He pulls out just as Tony Stewart pulls in. Carl Edwards away.
Ryan Newman in the 12th car to pit road.
And here comes Jimmy Johnson. There you see Stewart stop on the right. Greg Zipadelli-led crew finishes up, and Tony's away. So Johnson goes back into the lead, but now comes to pit road. And let's go to Steve at Kevin Harvick.
29 on pit road, Mike, Jason Palmer, and Clint Pittman just finished changing tires. 29 car has been just a little bit tight as Jimmy Johnson heads down pit road.
Johnson will come in right behind Dave Blaney getting service there. One adjustment on the right rear, and they're around to the left side.
All these are routine stops. 13.9, 4 tires, and 22 gallons of fuel.
That'll cycle Greg Biffle around to the lead, but look at how the cars on fresher tires are just zooming past him.
Yeah, well, there was a big bottleneck right there going into turn 1. Scott Riggs, 43 car, they all got wadded up in front of Biffle, and he had to check up. It was pretty ugly here for a second. Come down the front straightaway here, and Riggs had a run. He got down underneath Jeff Green in the 43. The 18 gets there. Now here comes Rusty, and all of a sudden Biffle says, whoa, I ain't got anywhere to go here, dude.
Larry, how long do you leave Biffle out there when everybody else has fresh tires?
Well, I mean, they're gambling right now. They're thinking they're going to get a caution, but you know what? He's given up about 1.5 seconds to 2 seconds a lap. Plus, he can't maneuver the race car. Better come to pit road soon.
By Nextel. Go to foxsports.com to find out how you can be the Nextel Fan of the Week.
Hey guys, I'm at the Nextel Experience with our Nextel Fan of the Week and his family, Eric McGurk from Pennsylvania. What excites you about NASCAR?
I love the cutaway cars and all the technology. I love everything they do to show us just what's going on in NASCAR. But I really like rubbing his race, and I like aggressive drivers, and I like to see a good track like Darlington.
Special Mother's Day weekend of NASCAR, and you surprised your mom.
Yes, I did. We got the tickets back in November, and all I told her is we're going camping. And she didn't know where we were going. I said, I'm going to introduce you to a lady in black.
This is Eric's 5th race at Darlington. His favorite driver is Kurt Busch. He hopes he has a good time tonight. Is he going to do it? We'll find out. Back to you guys.
Nice to have you at Darlington, and if you'd like to be considered and appear as the Nextel Fan of the Week, go to www.foxsports.com/Nextel and enter today. You could be next. Greg Biffle has led some 77 laps so far tonight. He's currently leading. Casey Kane, the pole sitter, right behind him. And Jeff, the winner in the Friday night Busch race last night was Matt Kenseth. They had a nice little fake towards the pits to help secure that. He's hanging around tonight as well.
Yeah, he's hanging around, Chris, but we just went through a cycle of green flag stops, and Matt had actually gone down a lap to the leader, but they made basically an early pit stop, short pitting we call it, on lap 148. But because of fresh tires, he's been able to drive his way back around, and right now he's currently 14th. But already he's slowed down to where he's over a second slower than the leader. So he needs a caution pretty quick. Otherwise, he's going to be right back in the same situation again, guys. So he needs something to happen real quick here if he wants to stay up in this race.
Thanks, Jeff. Riding with Jason Leffler in 24th position in the Joe Gibbs Racing FedEx number 11.
And when you hear the engine rev up, that's what these guys fight here all night long, is trying to get the rear tires to hook up.
Carrying the logo of St. Jude's Children's Research Hospital on board. Birdies for St. Jude is the promotion, leading into the FedEx St. Jude Golf Classic, May 25th to 29th in Memphis. You can pledge a donation for every birdie scored by a golfer in the tournament. And Jason's driving suit this weekend looks like a big golf ball. See, there's a little bit of fairway and a little bit of rough. The rough being the racetrack and the fairway being on the car. 9-year-old Aaron Ledford among those on hand from St. Jude's to help wish Jason Leffler well tonight.
It's a great sport, isn't it? That we're involved in. Kids like to get involved, get to be a part of a team, have a race car to pull for, have a driver that they can look up to. It's a great sport we're involved in, guys.
But St. Jude's Children's Hospital, what an awesome place. A vision of the late Danny Thomas, now his daughter Marlo Thomas, taking and guiding the ship there over there in Memphis, Tennessee. What a great place.
Happy to have them involved.
Rusty Wallace in the 2 car, he's back in the 23rd position. He's fighting right here to stay on the lead lap. Rusty Wallace would be one of those cars that would love to see a caution flag right now, as well as Kyle Petty in the 45 car. He's in the 22nd position.
Yeah, Rusty aggravated his way by Greg. Rusty just kept banging on his back bumper. Greg finally pulled on and said, go on.
Pretty decent group of cars there just ahead of the leader, so Biffle going to have to use some care picking his way through here.
Yeah, and a guy that's running back there in 3rd place, young kid, 20 years old, Larry, running Darlington like a veteran. Look at that kid in the 5 car.
He's been good all night, really. The only time he fell out of the top 10 was when they had the lug nut problem on a pit stop.
And his car looks so good. It really accelerates well off of both corners, and he's doing a good job. He's staying out of trouble. Got his teammate looking down his back bumper right now.
You know, the local hero here, Cale Yarborough from nearby Timmonsville, now Sardis, South Carolina, The first time Cale came here, he snuck under the fence to see the race as a boy. And the first time he came here with a race car, he was 16 or 17 years old, and they found out how young he was and sent him home. Wouldn't let him run. Of course, he came back to tame this place and win 3 Winston Cups.
Remember what I told you about when he went out of the turn 3, over the turn 3 wall over there? That was in about 1965 or 66. Racing for the lead here was Sam McQuagg. He went airborne out into the parking lot. I'll never forget, I sent home a kid watching on TV.
Cale won here for the Wood brothers in 68. And won here in 73, 74, 78, and 1982.
This was Cale Yarborough's kind of racetrack right here. Tough little guy, you know, no neck. Back in the days when you sat here 500 miles, no power steering, 120 degrees, outside temperature, he could get it done.
We're riding with Carl Edwards. He had been up there leading the race before that cycle of pit stops. Now he's back in the 6th position. Had a little bit of a problem on that green flag pit stop just a little while ago.
Well, I don't like the looks of this.
You see right here, you see the official pointing to the right front. That means, guys, you do not have 5 lug nuts tight. You'll see the front tire changer come around, put the lug nut on, and that was the difference between leading the race. Now he's 5.5 seconds behind our leader, Greg Biffle, his teammate. Costly mistake, especially on a green flag pit stop.
Racing there with Scott Riggs in the 10 a lap down, and Stanton Barrett, who is 3 laps back in the 92 after time trialing his way into the race.
After this long green run, you see most of our lead lap cars, most of our cars up there in the top 10, like Jeff Gordon in the 24, who's in 7th, having to fight through these lap cars. But of course, what these cars are trying to do is become the first car that's 1 lap down, get that free pass if we get a caution.
That position right now is held by Kyle Petty, at least until Greg Biffle can get past Rusty Wallace. Closing in on halfway at the track too tough to tame, Darlington Raceway in South Carolina.
Step. Yeah.
Welcome back to Darlington, South Carolina, where we've just passed halfway. 187 laps complete in the Dodge Charger 500. Greg Biffle with Sleepy Bear on the hood of his Travelodge Ford, trying to put the field to sleep here. He keeps increasing that lead, 2.3 seconds over Casey Kane's Dodge, Jimmy Johnson's Chevrolet, the Dodge of Ryan Newman, and the Chevy of rookie Kyle Busch.
I tell you one thing, that's a wheel man right there, boys. That's 6. When Greg Biffle gets behind the wheel of a race car, he's going to do some. He's going to make it go fast.
Dale Jarrett moves past Kyle Petty, trying to be the first car 1 lap down. That's that battle in the event a caution comes out. The car that would get the free pass right now would be Jarrett. And Dale Jr. continues to work with Pete Rondo on the handling of his race car. He's brought it up into the top 10, but he wants more. Here's what he said.
All right, it's rolling over more on the right front now and really loose off the tube. Loose off the tube. Center on. The air pressure down in the right to the up and the left. I don't like it really. Am I being heard? Hey, we got you, Junior. We got you.
They just wanted to make sure he was finished telling them what the car was doing.
You know, this time last year, Dale Jr. had led 437 laps. You know how many laps he's led this year? 5. Wow. 5 laps.
And I would say those would have been probably at Daytona and Talladega.
Roger that.
But it sounds like what they've done, they've let a little bit of air pressure out of that right front tire. Remember, that tire is like a spring, and now it's rolling over and it rolls down on that right front. He's loose from the center off. He wants that air pressure back in that right front tire.
Just ahead of him by half a second is this car, the Haviland Dodge of Jamie McMurray. There you see Junior and Kevin LePage behind. Still 19 cars on the lead lap. Rusty Wallace still holding just in front of race leader Greg Biffle. The last car on the lead lap. Here's Biffle. who continues to hold a 2-second lead on Casey Kane. Oh, Matt Kenseth back in. Here's Steve.
Boy, this race car is bad right now for Matt Kenseth. He said it's out of control loose. They put 3 turns up on the track bar, 4 turns of wedge in the left rear. Bad loose.
And Steve, they short pitted a while ago. They really short pitted that time, and it only took them about 15 to 20 laps to lap him that time.
Now, I've been watching Greg Biffle. I'm telling you, he's driving that car for all it's worth. He's driving it like it's 10 to go, not a halfway. Well, watch him come off turn 4 right here. Up against the fence, up against the fence. Man, all of a sudden she steps out with him. That's what Greg Biffle can do that not a lot of guys can get away with. He can jack it sideways like that and keep right on going.
But Jeff, you know, as a crew chief, and of course this spotter up on top, they're seeing those things. They're saying, okay, you know, we're well into this run. Settle down just a little bit. You have a good lead.
You saw Dale Jr. in his car. We had that in-car shot of him. He's as smooth as silk. Well, I wouldn't want to look in Biffle's car. How about it there, Jeffrey?
D, what I'm hearing and what I'm seeing is a lot of these drivers anticipated this racetrack tightening up, getting more grip as we went on into the night. So far, I'm seeing these cars getting looser, just like Darlington's always done. And they're hollering, I need to get the car tighter. I got to get more forward grip. This is still Darlington, whether it's day or night. The lady in black is telling you, baby, you got to respect it.
Yeah, it's push loose, Jeff. They just get a big old handful of steering wheel, and then when the front tires grip, the back end hops out. I think you heard that's kind of what Dale Jr. was explaining to Pete Rondo. How about it, Dick?
Well, just as that car was going sideways on our screen, Biffle had keyed his radio and told his crew chief, guess what? I need more rear grip, I guess.
Well, we've got caution on the racetrack, but guys, just remember, this is the first time we've ever raced this short rear spoiler here. I'm sure everybody's lacking rear grip.
6th caution of the night comes at lap 173. Matt Kenseth had just made a green flag pit stop, so that will pin him. And I don't think Dale Jarrett will be the free pass car. Instead, Greg Biffle had just lapped his teammate, Elliott Sadler, and Sadler will get back on the lead lap by the free pass.
I think Rusty Wallace was glad to see that caution because we saw him up there a while ago just hanging out in front of the leader. He was just about to get lapped, so he stays on the lead lap.
What's a good feeling when you're just right in front of that old leader and the caution comes out?
Debris on the racetrack up in turns 3 and 4 this time.
And who hated to see this caution was Matt Kenseth. Just had made that green flag pit stop. So now Matt is sitting there in 36th position, 2 laps down.
That's his crew chief, Robbie Reiser.
Not happy.
Well, they were victim of timing. They tried to make the car better and hope the caution would come out later rather than sooner. Here they all come. All the lead lap cars. Steve?
Kyle Busch still talking about he needs more grip out of the rear tires. They made an air pressure adjustment. They'll take 1 round out of the right rear corner of that race car. 4 tires for Kyle Busch. Dick?
Coming into today's race, Greg Biffle had led more laps than anybody all year long. Today, he's led more than half of the laps of this race. To get the car even better, they're going to take 1 round out of the left rear. At least that was the plan to Matt.
Casey Kane, 6 times in his career, he has finished second. As Rodney Rhodes makes another wedge adjustment, still trying to fight that grip issue. Tight in the front, loose in the back of the car. They clean the grill. He's away, the 16 of 48. It's going to be close, Mike.
Here you see the race off pit road. A lot of the top cars not gaining or losing position. Kyle Busch, the first car of the 5 to gain a position. Carl Edwards losing 1. But for the most part, everyone held their ground. Dale Earnhardt Jr., the A group, gains 2. Mark Martin loses 2. Pretty equal competition on pit road that time.
But nice work by Pete Rondo and crew to pick up Dale Jr. by 2 spots. Every step you take at Darlington gets you a little closer to the checkered flag, and that will come here in 171 laps on a crisp spring Friday night.
Don't turn on the lights, because I don't want to see.
Under 500 on Fox is brought to you by Duracell. Trusted everywhere. By Napa Auto Parts. Napa, get the good stuff. By Pepsi, it's the cola. And by America Online. Want a better internet? You belong at America Online.
20 cars on the lead lap. We're going to get the green flag at lap 170. Greg Biffle, Jimmy Johnson, Casey Kane, Ryan Newman, Kyle Busch, the rookie, still showing strong. Carl Edwards, Jeff Gordon, Dale Earnhardt Jr., Jamie McMurray, Mark Martin, the top 10 of 20 cars on the lead lap.
And this is where it gets exciting. This is the first double file restart we've had since the start of the race.
And Dale Jarrett on the inside there, on the inside front row, he spun the tires big time. Just about got into, I think it's Jimmy Johnson he almost got into.
And Jimmy Johnson in the 48 car, he's trapped behind those lap cars. Dale Jarrett in the 88, Kyle Petty in the 45. And look at the lead that Greg Biffle has in 3/4 of a lap.
See you later as Jarrett and Petty try to fight to be the first car one lap down.
They're doing what they need to do.
Yeah, right now, you know, being that far ahead, it's kind of like being 399 points ahead at 26 races. Not going to do you a whole lot of good.
Well, Greg Biffle's got that big a lead. Nothing left for us to do but
crank it up.
Greg Biffle's lead over Jimmy Johnson, 1.8 seconds. Traditionally, the Spring Darlington race was called the Rebel 500, and even into the 1970s, if you won the race, a reenactor in full Confederate garb would ride into victory lane on the hood of the winning car, waving a stars and bars. They wouldn't race here on Sunday. Blue laws prevented that, so they'd have a parade downtown with all the race cars and drivers. It was a big time.
Big, big deal. You know, while Jimmy Johnson was wrestling with Dale Jarrett and Kyle Petty, it allowed Casey Kane, who we're riding with now in the 9 car, to catch up to Jimmy Johnson.
Check with Dick Berggren.
The 1965 Southern 500 at Darlington was a runaway win for Ned Jarrett, whose Ford finished 14 laps ahead of second-place Buck Baker. Jarrett won the championship that year and is to this day Ford's winningest driver with 43 victories. His son Dale was just 9 years old that day, and he was sitting in the grandstands. Crash on the speedway.
Right there.
Jeff Green has spun at turn 4. I believe that's Hermie Sadler who made the ball. But caution is out for the 7th time for the Cheerios Dodge.
You know, I know somebody turned him around, and I wasn't really looking until after the fact. I'm not exactly sure who it was, but I think I know.
You mentioned it, Mike. These guys, they've been like magnets the entire race.
Opposites attract. Michael Waltrip into the back of Jeff Green. The reverse of what brought out the lap 7 caution flag. And poor Kurt Busch.
Almost again.
Almost got it again.
I think he got quite a bit of damage, Kurt Busch did. That's going into 3. It's up in the middle of turns 3 and 4.
Caution is out.
Green didn't really spin out. He just slid sideways.
Guys, we got the bright front team.
Pretty much blocked half the track, so caution is out for the 7th time this evening.
Who will really benefit from that will be Dale Jarrett, the UPS car, the 88 car, running right behind Greg Biffle. He will get the pardon. He will be back on the lead lap.
Mike, there's been 101 races here. As mean as this joint is, do you think there's ever been any run caution-free?
I doubt it.
One.
Really?
One race.
Ford built for the road ahead. As you watch from Ricky Rudd's car. Dick was talking of Ned Jarrett. Ned and Martha are both here helping Dale celebrate Mother's Day weekend at Darlington.
8 laps, guess what? Pit road's busy again. 4 tires and fuel and adjustments.
Dick Berger.
Well, the only adjustment Greg Biffle's crew is going to make this time around is a slight air pressure adjustment on his car. Nice pit stop. His crew has been flawless all night long.
The bigger concern for Casey Kane, getting the car to turn off the corner. Tommy Baldwin's going to try to fix the tight condition with a slight air pressure adjustment. And he's away.
Looks like Greg Biffle, he'll lead the group off pit road in the 16 car. Jimmy Johnson in the 48. Casey Kane in the 9, Ryan Newman in the 12. Look like Jeff Gordon in the 24 group. They pick up a few positions.
Once in the spring, once in the fall. Fireball Roberts went to victory lane here, caution-free. Hard to believe.
Under caution, time for a Visa race break. Casey Kane, Ryan Newman started on the front row. Couple of dodges, early miscues. Defending points champion from last year, Kurt Busch, did most of this on his own. Jeff Gordon was near him. He got back into the race, is in the race, but 60 laps down. Second caution within the first 7 laps. Jeff Green, remember this because you'll see a little more of these two, gets into Michael Waltrip. Michael was out of the race, came back in 38 laps down. More than 100 laps from the last incident. Hello, it's the Owensboro, Kentucky connection. Michael making sure Jeff Green knows just where he is. And then moments ago, Michael pushing and tapping to create the 7th caution from the Hollywood Hotel with Jeff Hammond, Chris Myers. And where's Michael Waltrip now? Last we saw him pit road.
I believe that NASCAR is having him sit there and think about what he's been doing because he's been playing a little bit rough tonight because when I looked at it, I was like, he was beating on the back of Jeff Green and said, hey, do you remember me?
Yeah, a little timeout, but he told us early that when asked of that first incident, he said, you know, with Mother's Day tomorrow, Mom said, if you don't have anything nice to say, don't say anything at all. But he certainly didn't forget.
No, he didn't forget for sure. And right now, NASCAR is giving him an opportunity to kind of sit there and think about it for a little while. And it'll be interesting to see how long they make him sit there.
Meanwhile, Greg Biffle, who was in the Busch race last night, and as they pointed out, Darrell and Mike and Larry, he's led the most laps this year, the most miles this year, and has led over 107 laps in this race.
These guys right now are really getting the job done. They get ready to go back to Green. He continues to lead this race, so they're doing it good as far as doing a really good job on pit road, and that's what's important when you got your driver running up front like Greg is.
Time for the singular virtual crew chief question. Will Jimmy Johnson, we asked earlier if he would win 3 in a row. Most of you said he would not. If you want to vote on this question, text the word crew to 191 on your singular wireless phone or go to foxsports.com. You'll also be entered for a chance to drive away in your own singular 31 car. Mike?
We're back under green. Michael Waltrip got a 1-lap detention for rough riding. He's back on track. 2 wide, a little bit of almost 3 wide as Jeff Gordon makes some room on the high side of turn 2, trying to gain ground. Ryan Newman right with him. And Dave Blaney, who is 1 lap down in the 0-7.
You know, Larry, thinking back, well, we're watching the 12 and the 24. They're having a pretty darn good go of it right here.
4th place here.
Nobody's going to give. That's a tough way to race right there around this joint.
Looks like Ryan Newman, though, with a 12 will finally prevail.
Guy on the inside usually has it. Whoops. Got the 11 in the, got the car 11 in the wall right there.
Jason Leffler. We stay green right now.
Looks like
still inside.
Everybody
still a group coming inside. I'll let
let you know when you get down. We got a pick, guys. Still inside, still there.
And he'll make it to pit road. We stay green.
And right now, Jimmy Johnson, the 48 car, running in second. He's been wrestling with Bobby Labonte in the 18 car. Bobby one lap down, trying to stay in that position where, like Dale Jarrett, if we get a caution, he could get the free pass. But now Jimmy Johnson, as well as Casey Kane in the 9, goes by.
Show you what happened to Jason Leffler from his onboard camera.
More than likely, he ran up on the back of Kyle, got on the brakes, shot him in the wall.
Take it easy. We got the wall, guys.
Kyle's jam car. Everybody's had trouble getting past him, and he's got a lot of left front damage from a shredded tire.
You know, Leffler may have run up on the, Kyle may have been slowing. Leffler run up on the back of him and had to get on the brake, shot him into the wall.
Kyle will make it to the pits, and we will stay green. Let's show it to you one more time.
See what happened here, because it had to be a chain of events here. I think Kyle just abruptly slowed, and Leffler had nowhere to go, jammed on the brakes, and it got him in the fence. That's too bad.
As you said a lot last night, Darrell, the car starts to climb the hill. You got to steer it with the throttle, not the brake.
Yeah, you got it. The hardest thing to do here is get your foot off the brake.
Now, not that Leffler had any choice in that situation.
Right. Larry, I just watched that 16 car, though, and it reminds me of Doug Rickard and Greg Biffle got together right here about a year and a half ago, 2 years. And they came down here, and that's the race that Biffle was going to win if they hadn't drug the flywheel off the thing. So they've had a good marriage and a good combination for this joint from the day they got together.
Yeah, the Greg Biffle, they've always ran well here. They just do not have the finishes to show for it. Only one top 10 finish.
Nice run for Mike Bliss tonight. He's right behind that yellow banana colored Dodge of Jeremy Mayfield, running in 14th, just moves past Tony Stewart.
Yeah, that's a backup car for Bliss too. Had a problem in practice. Booty Barker.
But he ran well here in the fall, finished 10th, and then finished in the top 10 in both Busch Series races last year. So he always runs well here.
Running about 11 seconds behind the leader. Ricky Rudd right behind Bliss, running 14th for the Wood Brothers. And the Wood Brothers have been winning at Darlington ever since, well, at least 1968 with Cale Yarborough. They won with David Pearson in 76, 77, and with Neil Bonnet in 81 in the fall race. And in the spring race, won 3 straight with Pearson from 1972 to 74.
Another one of our veterans, Sterling Marlin, ran up in the top 5 early in the race, qualified 7th. Now he's down a cylinder. You can hear it here.
Look at the fire coming out of the right side of it over there, Larry. Thing sounds like it's pulling a subsaw.
You can just see the miles per hour there, that he's only on 7 cylinders, and with 147 laps to go, which is right at 200 miles. That's a long way to go on 7 cylinders without it being catastrophic, a big failure.
Yeah, they said something about a plug wire, you know, on the last pit stop, but that sounds worse than plug wire to me.
He's about to go a lap down to Greg Biffle, our leader in the 16.
Sterling just can't catch a break. Had a great car last night, had a battery failure. Tonight, I don't know what's wrong with that thing, but it ain't going to last much longer.
No, it's not even minimum speed now.
4 DNFs in the last 5 races for Sterling Marlin. And he'll bring it to pit road.
He'll really take a hit in the points. Took a big hit at Talladega, went from 9th to 17th, and that will even be worse after tonight.
And you know, here's a guy, Sterling Marlin, one of the best drivers in the sport. Been around forever. Is it his fault he has 4 DNFs? I think not.
Nope.
Carl Edwards running 7th, 6 seconds back of the lead.
11 laps on tires, 11.
The good news is you only have 11 laps on tires. The bad news is you're going to have to run about 50 more.
Yeah. I don't think I'd even want my crew. I don't know. What do I care? It's 11 laps right now, you know. Tell me when it's about 25 or 30. I might need to know something.
Well, he's catching those two Hendrick Chevys of Jeff Gordon and Kyle Busch.
Mike Sterling Marlin in the 40 car just made that dreaded left-hand turn to the garage area. Looks like he's headed to the hauler.
Greg Biffle out in front of point leader Jimmy Johnson by 9/10 of a second. Here's a look at your top 5 with 223 laps done.
The Dodge Charger 500 on Fox is brought to you by Dodge. You can take life as it comes, or you can grab life by the horn. Dodge. $138 laps to go here in Darlington and the Dodge Charger 500. Let's check on the Dodge Chargers. Casey Kane, who has 6 second-place finishes in his Cup career, looking for that first win. Currently running third. He did lead 12 laps. Remember, it was the pole sitter. Ryan Newman started up front with him and Jamie McMurray currently running 8th. Last time racing here, McMurray was actually leading with 9 laps to go before he wound up 4th.
And right now we've got a pretty good battle right now for the lead with Greg Biffle, Jimmy Johnson, and Casey Kane. And I want to point out with Casey Kane, Tommy Baldwin has won at this racetrack before, so he knows how to get around here, as well as his car owner Ray Evernham. So I'm not surprised to see this Dodge, you know, being driven by Casey Kane running so well. But we got in trouble right now with his teammate. That's Jeremy Mayfield. He got into the wall.
Yeah, Mayfield just got up in the wall off turn 4 here and just used up the whole right side of his car. Gets in under Blaney right here. Dave Blaney in the 07. They make a little contact, and it turns Jeremy into the fence.
And Blaney is slow in the back straightaway as a result.
Yeah, he's got damage to the left front.
From Ricky Rudd.
Daryl, I know you can get down on the apron here. Come on.
Keep her straight. No caution. Clear.
Trying to go by the car.
Yeah, he got his left side down on the apron. That'll shoot you up. Got a car spun out down here at the end of pit road too, guys.
That's Blaney, I believe, who can't get to pit road.
Yeah, that's who it is.
As a result of the contact with Mayfield.
Caution is out, and that will be. We'll have to check on the free pass car.
8th caution of the night, though, Larry, at lap 233, as a result of Mayfield and Blaney getting together in turn 2. You see all the paint that's been traded between the two of those. Like we said at the top of the show, you're going to hit the wall. It's just a matter of how many times and how hard. As that happened, Jimmy Johnson took the lead from Greg Biffle. Here goes the Lowe's Chevrolet to the bottom side.
You see Biffle squeezes up in the middle of the front straightaway and lets him go. It's a good pass. Good clean pass.
Tonight, Darrell, Greg Biffle has led 1.5 times as many laps as all other drivers combined.
I just got the verification, and I wanted to make sure on this, but Bobby Labonte will reap the reward from that caution. He will get the pardon. He got the free pass back on the lead lap.
A lot of speculation and concern in the garage area whether this might be the last time we come to Darlington, South Carolina. This track seats 60,000, the smallest on the circuit despite recent improvements. It's in a small market, but it draws a very avid, enthusiastic crowd. Despite moving this race to Mother's Day weekend, this race was sold out more than a week ago. The place is packed, and the fans love the way they see racing here. And I hope we're back next year.
We have great racing here.
But it's like I said in the beginning of the show, at Talladega, we take out 25 cars at a time. Here you just take them out, one or two at a time, with 25 being the total at the end of the night.
Same result.
Same result, just
different
slow.
way to get there.
Just slow agony here. Pit road's closed. That's what that gentleman's trying to tell everybody.
But when they do open it, we'll get the same results. We get every caution 4 tires.
I did like the encouraging sign we saw in the pre-race that was blinking out front. 2006 tickets on sale. So the Speedway is optimistic that we'll be back here. Of course, NASCAR assigns and sanctions their race dates 1 year at a time and doesn't announce their next year's schedule until fall.
I'm trying, folks. Y'all help us. You know, y'all just keep coming to the racetrack. That's the big thing. If they can sell this joint out every time they have the gates open here, they'll keep a race here.
Our Wendy's race menu takes us to Richmond next weekend. We're on FX. The Busch Series race is presented by Johnsonville on Friday night, and the Chevy American Revolution 400 is on FX Saturday night. Join us under the lights for another weekend of NASCAR across the Fox networks. Well, let's open pit road, see if there's any takers.
I would say this first time there will be about 19 takers, all 19 cars on the lead lap.
What do they say? Come on down.
Let's go on down to Steve Burns.
Mike, Kyle Busch just told his crew chief Alan Gustafson, I've learned that slower is faster here. He slides to a stop. He wants more forward bite. They'll make a wedge adjustment in addition to changing 4 tires on his Chevrolet. He said, give me more forward bite, but don't hurt my ability to turn. So they make that wedge adjustment. Nick.
Greg Biffle in his pit right now. You'll see him on the bottom of your screen. A little bit of work on the right rear corner. He tapped the wall about 8 or 10 laps ago, and after that, the car was not as good as it had previously been. To Matt.
Casey Kane, second in the running order before the stops in the middle of your screen. New tire changer on the rears. Kyle Turner, very fast tonight, very smooth. The 48 is already down and away, and the 9 is off. He is going to beat him off.
Boy, it was close, man. Real close. See right there, the race off pit road. Casey Kane in the 9 car gaining that 1 important position. Look at Dale Earnhardt Jr. there, that group. Pete Rondeau gains 3 positions. Good pit stop. Now, this will be the time, including the pit stop. You see right there, Casey Kane in the 9, Jimmy Johnson in the 48, the big gainers. Jeff Gordon, as well as Jamie McMurray, losing the most ground. These boys like it. I think what really helped him is by sitting on the pole, he has that very end pit. He only has to move a short distance to win that race.
And he's on the gas as soon as he leaves the pit box, and it wasn't a foot.
The minute that jack dropped.
I like this song, but there's no free rides at Darlington. 238 laps complete this time in the Dodge Charger 500. 129 to go when they take the green for this restart, with Casey Kane back out front, leading Jimmy Johnson, Greg Biffle, and Ryan Newman down for the restart. 20 cars on the lead lap. Here we go.
Now, what you don't want to do is have a car like Biffle's had all night and get hung up back in here and have to beat some, you know, knock the fenders in on her or something, trying to get by some lap cars.
But for the first time in one of these restarts over the last 3, Jimmy Johnson in the 48, he clears all those lap cars on the inside. You'd have to fight them this time.
That 16 car, man, he is sailing that thing off in the corner.
Greg Biffle behind the 25 of Brian Vickers, who is 1 lap down.
Tell you what, though, the car that gets getting better and better set on the outside pole. Ryan Newman in that 12 car. He moves up to 4th position right behind Greg Biffle.
Yeah, I think we're seeing some of these guys like 9 and the 12, they got track position now. You know, you get up front, get out all that traffic, and you can make a run. But let me tell you a guy I keep an eye on for the rest of the evening. He's in 8th place right now. Haven't said a word about him, and we probably won't until it's all over with. That's that cat right there. He knows how to run Darlington. He knows how to win a 500-mile race here. It's Mark Martin in the 6th car.
Ryan Newman trying to clear some lap traffic, as there is Martin, kind of in the rocking chair, about half a second behind Jeff Gordon and about 3/10 ahead of Jamie McMurray.
Tell you what, Darryl, you talked about this car earlier in the night. Started back in 29.
Trouble turn 1. 2 cars hard in the wall. Quaffle is 1. Scott Riggs is the other. 9th caution of the night. Oh, Dale Jarrett involved in that as well.
Yeah, he's down on the bottom of the track. I can't see damage. I don't know if he just spun to miss that or not.
Yeah, got a little left front damage there. Not much.
Darrell, this looks like one of those situations where, as you say, caution's breeding caution.
Oh, yeah, you get those lap cars, tell you, kind of entangled in amongst all those fast ones. You get impatient. You don't want them to hold you up because you lose so much time.
A lot of damage to Travis Quaffle's car, the 77, but who will reap the benefit of this caution will be Brian Vickers in the 25 car. Lost that lap early in the race. He finally gets back on the lead lap.
Darrell, as you said, at Talladega, you wreck 25 of them all at once. Here, one at a time.
The result's the same. It's just agonizing for 500 miles. They just kind of look at all these cars now. They look like it did at Talladega when they come back out on the racetrack.
That's Mayfield. Briggs has taken his Chevy to the garage, where he will join Sterling Marlin, Jason Leffler, Carl Long, and Jeff Fuller. We pick this up in progress here at the top of your screen.
Like Quaffle just went around, and when he did, he come right up in front of Scott Riggs in a 10 car, and then I think Jarrett spun out back here, just locking up the brakes.
Let's see.
Car, I'm all spin down here, back it down, stay low, so don't come back down, please.
Oh.
Inside you, inside.
I believe the old M&M's car might have helped him around a little bit. His teammate
Elliott Sadler. So caution is out for the 9th time tonight. Let's get down to Jeff Hammond for a State Farm safety report.
For drivers, the biggest fear they always have inside of a race car is fire. And what NASCAR has done to try to give them the opportunity to get out of a situation like that, they have installed onboard fire extinguishers. If you look right behind the seat here, this is a fire bottle that most drivers will use. They can push a plunger beside the cockpit area and release this fire suppressant in the event of a cockpit fire, or it also will release it itself in case the driver is knocked out when the temperature reaches a certain temperature. Also, you'll notice a large fire extinguisher bottle mounted here. That is to give you an opportunity in case you back it into the wall and have a fire in the trunk area. You'll notice it will go off on its own. It has its own sprinkler head. All these things have been done with the intent to try to promote better fire safety on these stock cars by NASCAR.
Thanks, Jeff. You recall what happened to Tony Stewart. Now, this was an oil fire from under the hood that came up through the shifter boot. One layer of Nomex burned through, and Tony sustained burns to his thigh and to his right arm. Did not miss a race, but had a good amount of discomfort from that.
There's probably nothing a driver fears any worse than to have his car catch on fire. It's just, you panic.
With only 3 laps on the tires of our 20 cars on the lead lap, we had 10 that pitted, 10 that stayed out. One of the cars that pitted was Tony Stewart in that 20 car.
The Dodge Charger 500 Odd Box is brought to you by Budweiser, the official beer of NASCAR, and proud sponsors of Dale Earnhardt Jr. and the number 8 car.
The green flag waves to begin lap 247. 121 to go in Darlington. Casey Kane out front. Jimmy Johnson single file. Greg Biffle. Then it's a couple of lap cars before Ryan Newman.
Greg Biffle in the 16 car running third. He worked very hard before he got to turn 1 to make sure he cleared those lap cars.
Jeff Gordon, Dale Jr. fighting for 6th. And we listened in to Dale Jr. and company.
Should have came. I just about did. I was coming, Pete. He said something. I was on my way.
I saw you. That's why I called you off. That was only 3 laps.
You don't understand what 3 laps is out here. That's like 40 anywhere else.
As Larry pointed out, 10 cars came in, 10 cars stayed out of the 20 on the lead lap. Obviously, Junior was one of those who stayed out and wished he'd come in.
It's about 3 or 4 cars back to the first car behind Dale Jr. that has fresh tires, and that would be
Jamie McMurray actually back in the 10th position in the 42 car. That's when it hurts you. Maybe if you're one of those top 3 or 4 cars that stays out, it don't hurt you. It's when you're back there 8th, 9th, and 10th, the guys right behind you has those little fresher tires.
Carl Edwards makes the move on Junior. This is for 8th place. Darrell, how long do you have to run before the cars that just got tires are equal to the cars that had those tires with 3 green flag laps on them?
Spectacular.
You just heard Junior say, you don't understand. 3 laps out here is like 20 anywhere else. If they get tires, you got to get tires, because that's going to bite you if this goes green very long.
But how long before things equal out?
Oh, man, I don't think they ever do. I mean, you're going to be coming. That other guy's going to be going.
I used to tell my guys when I'd see them rolling the tires of the garage area to put on the car, don't roll those over here. Put them on the wagon and bring them over here.
Carry those babies.
We talked about at the top of the show, this surface is just like a piece of 80 grit sandpaper. It just wears those tires out and they start sliding right away.
I think it's more like a grinding wheel there. Big old grinding wheel.
That moves.
Yeah.
Yeah, 80 grit, by the way, is very much on the rough side. Well, did you like night racing at Darlington? You bet, 82%. We like it too.
Yes, we do. It has a different air about it.
I like a little bit of Saturday night racing, but I'm still a Sunday guy for the most part.
We'll get the best of both those worlds in about 3 weeks when we go to Lowe's Motor Speedway Sunday night under the lights.
8th place battle, 7.5 second leader.
Playing with that throttle. There's Junior.
See what's happening to him. He's going to lose 3 positions right there with more coming. And all these cars, Kevin Harvick in the 29, Jamie McMurray in the 42, Tony Stewart in the 20, those are cars that elected to get those fresh tires.
The other thing is, Larry, we've said it a couple of times this year already, these tires don't like cycles, heat cycles. Run them 3 laps, get them hot, and then they cool off. They don't work quite as good.
Out of the way, buddy, out of the way. Let's go get that 8 car now.
Look at the difference. Like we saw earlier on Jimmy Johnson's tires, after a 40-lap run, he was 10 miles an hour a lap slower than the cars with than he was with new tires.
But he's back there fighting cars with new tires. Now remember, our leader has the same amount of laps on his tires as Junior, but he's out there in clean air not fighting anyone right now. It's 29 car, though, Kevin Harvick. He's the car on the move right now. He's up in 9th place. He has those little fresher tires. Been good all night long on long runs.
For more on Harvick, here's Steve.
Mike, he's been flirting with the top 10 all night, and they've really chased the racetrack. They've gone from tight to loose to tight. Now they think they're pretty good, and their game plan for the rest of the race is to get tires at every chance.
Not a bad plan at all.
I don't know. In the backstretch was Bobby Hamilton Jr. Actually, he was just coming back out on track after a tire rub and a stop.
I don't call that a plan. That's his race strategy here, buddy. I think that's one of the things that Junior was trying to tell Pete Londo there. They haven't worked together that much. Pete probably hadn't run the pit that many times. Steve Meal does a whole lot of the calls for Junior. I think he was trying to say, hey, buddy, you know, you got to realize something about this place.
Heard Steve Meal on the radio earlier asking Junior how his car was. That was very early up in the race. Casey Kane back to Jimmy Johnson. It's 1 second on the racetrack. Only 2 drivers have led more laps than Casey tonight. Jimmy Johnson's led 55, and Greg Biffle has led 137.
And these cars that have been running up in the front here for most of the race, those are good race cars. Whatever happens, track transition, heat transition, tires, whatever, they stay good. The cars that are marginal, those are the ones that go up and down. They get it right for a little while, and then they fall back down through the field again.
And Dale Earnhardt Jr. in the 8 car, he's back to 15th position. He's lost 7 seconds in the last 10 laps to our leader right now, Casey Kane.
And if this thing goes up under green for a while, guess what? he'll be a lap down. Or he'll have to short pit.
Johnson's about to be caught. Here comes Biffle. Boy, that happened in just one straightaway.
And you see Jimmy is coming. Is Jimmy coming in?
Jimmy
Yes,
Johnson's
he is.
coming to pit
He's
road.
coming to pit road.
Tires, 1 can of fuel. 4 tires, 1 can of fuel.
What's up?
We're listening to the radio. 3 of us have been listening to it at the same time. Can't tell what the problem is, but he surely does have a problem. Jimmy Johnson hitting out of second position under the green flag. This is nothing less than a disaster. Probably a tire.
No, all the tires look up. That right rear could be soft, but it's hard to tell.
And they've called for tires and fuel as if it's a routine stop. But way too early for that.
Yeah, they last pitted on lap 235, so we only have about 25 laps on these tires and fuel. He definitely had something that he did not like.
Like I said, the right rear could have been soft. It's a little hard to tell. It was just barely soft.
See his crew chief Chad Canals, but you know what, guys? When you're leading the points by 130 points, the man that came in here second in points had a problem. You don't gamble if you don't feel something you don't like.
No, you can overcome a flat tire, but you can't overcome a flattened right side of the car.
So Jimmy Johnson and Chad Canals doing some big picture racing, not taking a gamble, but making the stop. Dick will update us when he can. And it puts Greg Biffle into second place, 2 seconds behind this young man, Casey Kane, who, don't forget, is fighting for his first ever Nextel Cup win. He's had, oh, so many second places. Everybody's been wondering for more than a year, how long will it take him to break through? Look at the list he would join of drivers who got their first Cup win at Darlington, beginning with Johnny Mance. Steve Burns talked about Mance's victory in the first Southern 500, which came because his showroom stock car ran truck tires, which were more durable than the passenger car tires that his competitors kept blowing out.
Here's the scary part of all that. They had a trap door over on the right side of the car with a rope going to it. The driver could pull the rope, open the door, and look at the right front tire to see if it was white. If it was, it meant the cords were showing.
Wow.
Be time to pit.
Speaking of tires, let's look at Jimmy Johnson's, Dick.
Vibration was it, Mike. There's just a little tiny bit of metal shards in there. Lug nuts not quite tight on that wheel, so he came in. He felt the vibration. That was the problem.
But you see how he just drives by these guys. He has those fresh tires. The guys he just drove by have about 20 laps on their tires. Right now, he's in 23rd position, 1 lap down, trying to find Kenny Schrader. If he can go by Kenny Schrader in the 49, he'll be the first car a lap down. Get a caution, he'll be back on the lead lap.
And plenty of time to do it. 103 laps to go in Darlington County as Tony Stewart takes it to Dale Jr. for 13th place.
See Ricky Rudd right behind Dale Jr. 21 car still on the lead lap up there in the 15th position. Good run for Ricky tonight.
And all those spotters will be busy because right behind them, here comes Jimmy Johnson on those fresh tires. And if he gets a little room, he can make a difference right here.
The approach rate as he catches these cars. See how quick he drives up on the back of Ricky Rudd here, coming off turn 4.
Yeah, you just have to be careful when you're that much quicker than everybody else that you don't run over somebody. Forget about them knowing you're coming. You just got to be careful not to get them in a position where they wreck you and themselves too. Probably right now you can find out exactly how fast that 48 car is, because he's standing on her right now.
You know what, Mike? You talked about Casey Kane trying to get that first win. He's also trying to become the first driver to take Dodge Charger to victory lane in 28 years. The last time Neil Bonnet at Ontario, California, November of 1977. That's something all these Dodge drivers would like to hang on their records.
The man who leads this race by 1.7 seconds has 6 second-place finishes in his brief Nextel Cup career. That's Casey Kane.
.500 on Fox is brought to you by Radio Shack. You've got questions, we've got answers. By Yamaha, now celebrating 50 years as the world's motorsports leader. By new Tylenol Extra Strength Rapid Release Gel. Team Tylenol, think fast. And by State Farm. Great service, great rates. That's why 40 million drivers trust State Farm. 95 laps to go here in Darlington under the lights. Time for a Visa race break. If you joined us late, Casey Kane started on the pole. Ryan Newman along with him on the front row. Greg Biffle has led the most laps, 137 in this race. But just getting things started, that's the defending points champ. Kurt Busch on his own into the wall. Got back into the race, but not in the picture. Michael Waltrip, who's been working his way up the points the last few weeks, bumped by Jeff Green. It's an Owensboro, Kentucky connection. Michael didn't like it. Made sure that Jeff Green knew about it the rest of the night. Bringing another caution, Michael was penalized a lap. But Casey Kane chasing Jimmy Johnson, his pit crew all over it. 13-6 on this stop, best of the night. And off pit road took the lead for the second time. That is currently, with the help of his team, the leader with 93 laps to go. Greg Biffle running second, Ryan Newman running third. And Jeff, checking the race summary.
Yeah, we've had 11 different leaders and 24 different lead changes, but caution flags, hey, we've had 9 of them for 36 laps, and we've got 37 cars still running. And if you wonder what happened to Jimmy Johnson, right now he's running in 21st position, 1 lap down, but he's now gone around Ken Schrader, so if the caution does come out, he's got an opportunity to get back on the lead lap.
All right, let's check on Casey Kane being chased down, and this has been a Visa race break. Mike?
Thanks, Chris. He's got a lead of 0.6 of a second on Greg Biffle right now.
And Biffle's been closing on him, especially in 3 and 4. Pretty even in 1 and 2 down here. Looks like the 9 gets off of turn 2 a little bit better than Biffle does. But down here in 3 and 4, Biffle really catches him.
Now, Larry, if we run this race backwards from 500 miles, how many pit stops are we looking at?
Everyone except for Jimmy Johnson, who's already made 1 stop. Everyone can make it on 1 stop here. I look for these guys to be on pit road about 20 to 25 laps from now, about lap 300, and that should take them to the end should we stay green.
You ride with Casey Kane. There is Greg Biffle, 0.8 of a second behind, Matt.
Been battling the balance of the car all night, out front in that clean air. Still about 1/10 of a lap faster than Greg Biffle, but he says the car has gone back to being loose, especially through the center of the corner.
I tell you, guys, just keep watching, because I know how he drives, and I know how he thinks. It's a guy in that 6 car coming off the corner here. Looks really good. He's passed just got by Jeff Gordon. He's up to 5th place, and the car just looks like it keeps getting better and better, and Mark keeps picking up the pace ever so slightly.
Martin is 11.3 seconds back of the lead. He's got Jeff Gordon not too far behind him. Then Kevin Harvick, who continues to climb the ladder up to 7th. Then Carl Edwards, Jamie McMurray, and Joe Nemechek round out the top 10 right now. There are still 20 cars on the lead lap.
See, what you know about those first 5, the 9, the 16, the 12, the 5, they're running at 100%. What you know about Mark Martin is he's running about 90%.
Give him about 30 or 40 more laps.
He's inching closer and closer.
Kevin Harvick, Jeff Gordon.
Gordon's car, as you just saw off of 2 right there, that thing is all over the place. It's gotten really bad loose, looks like. What do you know? What about it, Manny?
DW, it is a handful. You see him bouncing off the corner. Now, most of the race, he has been loose, but back on lap 257, he said, we are finally tight, believe it or not. But then 20 laps later, he says, we are back to being extremely loose. It's all I can do to hang on to it. He has dropped down to 8th, losing spots again and again.
And just think about it, guys. Yeah, he's sitting 3rd in the points. He has 3 wins in 9 races. This is race number 10. But his wins have been at Daytona and Talladega and in Martinsville. These guys still struggle at the mile, mile and a half, mile and a quarter type racetracks.
Of all the Hendrick cars that you would expect to be the best tonight, you might not have picked the 5. Kyle Busch comes in here as a rookie to the toughest track in NASCAR.
he would have been a long shot, but here he is in 4th place, just 4 seconds off the lead.
Yeah, and he's doing a great job, but I just want to follow a little bit up.
Oh, it just hit the wall. Looks like he had a tire going down.
Steve?
It's his right front tire, Mike. He just said I have a tire going down, right front.
Caution is out, too. Caution is out. So he's going to stay on the racetrack and try to stay on the lead lap with a lot of damage to the right side of that car.
That car's hurt. And there's a, there's a Darlington for you, not of his own making. Cuts down a tire.
What's his misfortune is his teammate's fortune. Jimmy Johnson in the 48 car will be back on the lead lap. He gets the free pass.
But what a tough break for that kid.
I'm telling you,
just a great run going.
He's got a lot to be proud of. To come in this joint here and run the way he has, a rookie, nice work.
Driving for the team in which Terry Labonte won the last traditional Labor Day Southern 500 here in 2003.
Terry won his first race here. He won his last race here. There he goes, just into turn 3 and into the wall he goes. You can see the tire just let down and up the hill she went.
Pit road is very busy. Dale Earnhardt Jr., he'll get his 4 fresh tires now in that 8th car.
I think Jeff Gordon will be happy too.
Dick?
Well, Biffle has run up front all day, and this pit crew has been flawless all day. This time he pits out of 2nd position. The big race is going to be down to the other end of pit road because this event is beginning to wind down to the final lap. No changes in this car. To Matt.
The Dodge boys got Casey Kane off first last time. Let's see if they can do it. On the jack, Kyle Colbert waiting to drop it on the right side as Biffle's already on his way down pit road. Nick Odell hitting the lugs on the left front. A slight air pressure adjustment, trying to get this car in the track more. He's not only going to lose the lead on pit road, he's going to lose 2nd place as well.
Yeah, Ryan Newman gets 2nd, and I think Mark Martin may have gambled here because he comes off pit road in 4th.
But you see the race off pit road right there. Casey Kane leaving 2 positions. Jeff Bird back there at the 31 car. That group, Kevin Hamlin gaining 2 as well. There you see the times, including the pit stop. Greg Biffle, Kevin Harvick, the real winners. Casey Kane, as well as Mike Bliss, the losers of our top 10.
You know, Mike, I don't think that Mark gambled. I think that he was up there in about 4th place when he came on pit road, and he had a great pit stop.
I think you're right. I think you're right, Darrell. Drink bottle discarded.
500 miles at Darlington. That just sounds like Mark Martin's name ought to go with it.
We'll see. 84 laps to go at the Lady in Black Darlington Raceway.
Got a black magic woman. Got a black magic woman. I've got a black magic woman. Got me so black.
They've just waved the green flag to restart after caution flag number 10. Kurt Busch was held a lap in the pits by NASCAR officials and then released. He is 63 laps down. As we go back to green, Greg Biffle is your new leader with Ryan Newman and now Casey Kane up to 3rd, who fell back after a little trouble on the right front on his pit stop.
Of course, the car right behind Greg Biffle is 16 car Matt Kenseth, our winner last night. Right now, he's 2 laps down, back in 26th position.
I'll show you what happened to put Casey Kane back on this restart. Keep an eye on the right front tire changer as we show you this stop.
Now, he got into his pit box good. You see the guys go across the wall. You see both tire changers taking the lug nuts loose real quick on the right rear. But you see the right rear was almost done before the right front was put on. And those 2 or 3 seconds difference right there is what sent him from 1st to 3rd on this pit stop.
And one thing I noticed, when he come to his pit stall, he stopped, he was sliding, then he released the brake and rolled forward a little bit. I've had tire changers tell me, please don't do that. I'm zeroed in, and you roll forward that little bit, it takes me out of my position.
In position to score is Mark Martin. took this restart in 4th place. Dick Bergman's in his 5th.
Yeah, and he started in 20th. Pat Tryson is his crew chief. How much more speed is there in that car?
I don't know. The Viagra 4 Jordan's been pretty good all night. Been getting a little better each stop, and hope we got a little bit left, and hopefully we can go win this thing and give Mark another win and the one for Viagra, and see what happens here towards the end.
A lot of fans in the grandstand would like to see Mark Martin win one more time here in Darlington in his last start.
And Dick, just to verify, they did get 4 tires on that stop, did they?
Yes, they did.
Thank you.
They just had a good pit stop.
Yes, they did. Martin is 4th. Kevin Harvick is in the top 5. What a long climb it's been for Harvick tonight, who started 24th, but he's made it to the top 5.
See Jeff Gordon in the 24 car. He's just kind of been hanging out from 5th to about 12th all night long. Not a great qualifying effort yesterday, but right now he's up in the 6th position. And these guys may only get one more opportunity to make these cars right, possibly one more pit stop.
I think Jeff's car is loose, and when you're loose here, you burn that right rear up, and man, that's the worst thing that can happen to you. You just can't drive a car when that happens. Looks pretty good for a little bit. You see he's bobbling off the corner there pretty badly.
But I think Jeff Hammond talked about that earlier. A lot of these cars anticipated this racetrack would be a lot tighter than it is now, and it's really not tightened up that much. A little bit, but not a lot.
So Greg Biffle in the Travelodge National Guard board out in front of this race. He has clinched the 5 bonus points for leading the most laps tonight. We listened in.
You guys are doing a nice job in there tonight. I don't know if we're good enough to win, but we're certainly good enough for the top 5. That's great for coming here.
Be good enough to win if he doesn't slap that wall one of these times. Man, he gets close to it.
That car's been great on the racetrack. The Doug Richard-led pit crew, they've been awfully good on pit road as well. Very solid all night long.
Biffle would have more than a couple of wins this year, but sometimes they get out front and on caution flags they gamble. It doesn't always work out in their favor.
See, I told you the track moves. Watch that track move. That camera, did you see it? That thing was, the track was moving.
Is the light playing tricks on you, or is it just dark?
I don't know, but I'm telling you, it looked like the track was moving to me.
Here's what's moving, Darrell. That 48 car. Jimmy Johnson restarted, I think, 19th, and he has now climbed 5 positions to 14th and going to work on Bobby Labonte. This would be for 13th place.
Oh yeah, we know he's bad fast, and he's got to catch up. He's doing a little catching up right now.
And how he got a lap down was he had a tire issue on the green, made an unscheduled green flag pit stop, went down a lap on that last caution. He got the free pass.
But you know what was cool about that? I didn't hear him complaining about it. All of a sudden he comes to pit road. I mean, like, he didn't wait. He just came to pit road and got it corrected.
Not a bad night for Joe Gibbs Racing and Bobby Labonte, the 2000 Southern 500 winner here.
His car was not that good at the beginning of the race. He went a lap down. He got the free pass. Now he's back on the lead lap. Talked about Mark Martin making his final Darlington start right behind Bobby Labonte. Rusty Wallace in the 2 car. This will be his final Darlington race. Rusty in the 15th position.
500 miles and a long evening of racing in Darlington County, and it's going to be even longer for the NASCAR officials. They have invited Kurt Busch, Jeff Green, and Michael Waltrip to join them in the Oval Office after the race.
They might want to just explain to them about how they would like to see the races run. A little more give and take.
A little more give.
I've been in there and heard that explaining format before.
Oh, yeah. I mean, what did they tell you, Larry?
That basically I needed the sport much more than they needed me.
Roger that. Now, watch the track.
Darrell.
Is it the track or the wall? I can't make up my mind. But the track, I tell you, some guys told me that the track's moving.
Mike, this normally happens to a driver after 400 miles here.
I'm with you, Larry. As we investigate that camera mount there on the straightaway, Dale Earnhardt Jr. picks up a spot on Ricky Rudd.
Dale Jarrett, the UPS car, we're riding with him, still on the lead lap. He's up there in the 17th position. Remember, it was not that long ago that he spun out trying to avoid another wreck, got together with his teammate, Elliott Sadler, in the 38.
You know, he had this joint figured out, Larry. I mean, Dale Jarrett, he seen it come and go. 32nd or worse in the last 5 of the 7 races here. Before that, he had 9 top 5s and 3 victories in 16 races. So he's seen this joint come and go.
Now, those 3 wins all came within a 5-year span. He was as good here as his dad was.
All in the spring race.
What a beautiful sight. Looking from turns 3 and 4 up towards the big end of the track. And there we are at the top of the grandstand. You're watching the Dodge Charger 500 on Fox.
Charger 500 is brought to you by Dodge. You can take life as it comes, or you can grab life by the horn. Dodge. By Aaron's. Aaron's makes dreams come true with dream prices on dream products. By Coca-Cola Racing Family. Coca-Cola, the official soft drink of NASCAR. And by The Longest Yard, starring Adam Sandler, Chris Rock, Kelly, and Burt Reynolds. Starts Friday, May 27th. It may seem like the longest race for some of the drivers, not for Greg Biffle, who's won 2 of the 3 races when leading more than 100 laps. He's led the most laps here, 155 so far in the 16 car. Ryan Newman, Casey Kane, a couple of Dodgers behind him who were on the front row. And Roush Racing, Jeff Hammond, they've dominated impound races, haven't they? This, of course, an impound race.
Yes, they have so far this year. Out of the 4 previous impound races we've run, they've won 3 of those 4, with Richard Childress winning at Bristol with Kevin Harvick. So I'm not surprised, and Kevin right now is running 5th, so I'm not surprised to see Roush running well. But you also notice that these Dodgers don't want to go away. Ryan Newman and Casey Kane are having outstanding runs also.
Casey Kane trying to become the first driver since Joe Nemechek at Kansas last October to win from the pole. And here at Darlington, only one of the last 23 have been won by drivers who started first.
As we watch right now, Mark Martin, he's moving up in the points and having a really solid run in 4th place right now. As we watch Kevin Harvick, he's giving chase to Mark, running back now in 5th place. But guys, I'm watching and wondering what's going to happen on this next pit stop. That's going to be, I think, the deciding factor in this race. Right, Larry?
Yeah, it's going to come in about 35 to 40 laps. But what I think will happen, we may see some of these guys, especially if you're like Jeff Gordon in the 24 car, maybe Carl Edwards, they maybe will short pit, try to get advantage early of those fresh tires to see if they can pull something off here.
When Matt Kenseth short pitted early in the race, he gained almost half a lap on the competition for the laps he was able to run with new tires before they were able to stop. Unfortunately, it didn't turn out to Kenseth's advantage because he had to cycle through and make a pit stop before getting a call.
Of course, the difference, Mike, will be the fact that this next pit stop will come with about 20 or 25 laps to go in the race.
So that could actually be a good move.
Yes, sir. Especially if you're back there running 4th to about 8th.
Oh, yeah, it puts the pressure on the guy that's like Greg Biffle. He's got to catch you.
Joe Nemechek 9th and Jimmy Johnson coming in the 48. Schrader in the 49 is 1 lap down.
Right ahead of him there is Joe Nemechek, and we haven't mentioned him much, but he's running in a nice spot. Good run for him. Got Jeff Burton just ahead.
And you know a car that may pull that strategy would be Chad Knaus in that 48 car right now. Even though he's going forward, he's 14 seconds behind our leader. It may be him that makes that gamble in short pits.
What you know will happen, Larry, if one of them comes and starts that, here the rest of them come. Monkey see, monkey do.
Tony Stewart in 11th. Jamie McMurray. His Dodge is in 12th. 17 seconds back of the lead. And Rusty Wallace running his last Nextel Cup race at Darlington in a long and storied career.
Never won here, though, Mike.
Looks like it may not be Rusty's night tonight either, but he's still on the lead lap in 13th. Dale Jr. finally got his fresh tires. He has climbed to 14th, but holds there 19 seconds off the lead. And Bobby Labonte rounds out the top 15. A winner here in September 2000. He is 20 seconds back of race leader Greg Biffle.
Yeah, the wind wasn't pretty, but the rain played in his favor.
Dale Jarrett's still on the lead lap. He's 22 seconds back behind Ricky Rudd. So Jarrett is 17th in the UPS Ford. There's Rudd just ahead in 16th. The rest of the lead lap cars are Mike Bliss, Brian Vickers, and Elliott Sadler. So 20 cars are on the lead lap here in Darlington as Bliss makes a move on Jarrett. 17th place changes hands.
Darrell, you mentioned it earlier in the race. That's with the backup car. He crashed in that hour-and-a-half practice session we had yesterday morning.
Done a really nice job in that car. Very little practice. I think he didn't even drive that car till he qualified it.
There's a look at Vickers closing on Jarrett. And the last lead lap car is Jarrett's teammate Elliott Sadler in the M&M's Ford.
And our leader, Greg Biffle, will only be about 6 or 7 seconds behind Elliott Sadler in the 38.
The lap cars of Wimmer, Petty, and others. Where's our leader?
There he
Biffle?
is, right there. The guy right behind him over there, you know, we talk about Ryan Newman and what a qualifier he is. We all know that. But I think tonight, overall, he's had one of his best races. Sitting there running in second place right behind Biffle, about 1.4 seconds back, and sitting in pretty good shape here at Darlington.
Yeah, at the top of the show, we questioned about those guys that ran that fast lap yesterday in qualifying. The front row right now is running second, third. Ryan Newman in second, Casey Kane, our Bud pole sitter, in third in the 9 car.
A 1.5 second lead for Biffle, and caution has come out with 51 laps to go, setting up the final pit stop of the night. Debris on the racetrack once again. Piece of sheet metal.
But that throws the strategy out the window about a green flag stop, because everyone can make it from here. But you see Casey Kane's group getting ready. Remember, you can't have a mistake like they had on that last pit stop. You can't have a mistake like Carl Edwards' group had earlier with a lug nut problem. This could be the winning or losing pit stop right here.
Oh, there's no question about that. I've seen a number of races come down to this last stop like we're going to see here. Trouble in the pit happened to Jeff Gordon. It's happened to a number of guys.
This is where Jimmy Johnson and that crew won this race 1 year ago.
Caution has just come out at Darlington Raceway for the 11th time tonight. This one for debris on the racetrack. Of the 11, 3 of them were for crashes involving both Jeff Green and Michael Waltrip, who've been invited to meet with NASCAR officials after the race, along with Kurt Busch, who's going to bring out the first caution of the night. So it's been a lot of cautions, no single big pileup, and very few cars in the garage area. Sterling Marlin, Hermie Sadler out of the race, along with Carl Long and Jeff Fuller. Otherwise, there are 20 cars contending for the win. Greg Biffle has by far led the most laps tonight, and here they all come to pit road for what could be the final pit stop.
All 20 cars on the lead lap.
Steve.
Kevin Harvick says he is still too loose. They're going to drop the track bar. They will also put on 4 tires that they got from their teammate Dave Blaney. Dick.
Mechanical adjustments in car number 16, Greg Biffle, who has pitted out of the lead. Let's see if this crew can get him off pit road faster than anybody. Come on.
Newman a tick on the tight side, a wedge adjustment. On the stop before, and air pressure came off the grill. The car was really pretty good on the bottom. The 9 car, Casey King, got beat off pit road on the last stop. Chassis adjustment. The car was way too tight. It was plowing. They're going to get beat off by 3 cars, maybe 4.
Kane comes out 5th.
But look at the race off pit road. You see right there, Jeff Gordon in that group gaining 2 spots. Casey Kane losing 2. Jeff Burton at 31, as well as Joe Nemechek gaining 2. Carl Edwards losing 2. Jamie McMurray gaining 2. There's the times, including the pit stop. The real winners, Jeff Gordon and Mark Martin in that 6 car, just like earlier. The real losers will be Jeff Burton and Carl Edwards in the 99.
Stick around for the next 50 laps, folks. We're going to give you one heck of a race as we complete 500 miles in Darlington.
Fox, glad to have you watching NASCAR here from Darlington. Want to congratulate our technical team remote for winning an Emmy Award. That includes cameramen, videotape operators, audio. They give an Olympic-sized effort every week to bring you the best in NASCAR, and we appreciate their efforts. Hopefully you do too.
Yeah, they definitely make our job easier right now as we're getting ready to go back to green. But congratulations one more time, guys.
Mike, we're about to put them to work. We're going to get the green flag with 46 laps to go. Greg Biffle, Ryan Newman, Jeff Gordon up to third, Mark Martin fourth, Casey Kane fifth.
Looks like our top three will clear the lap car of Matt Kenseth, which is something they definitely wanted to accomplish here early after this restart.
Jeff Burton is sixth, Nemechek seventh, Carl Edwards is eighth. Jimmy Johnson, the point leader, ninth. Jamie McMurray rounds out the top 10 ahead of Rusty Wallace, Dale Jr., and Bobby Labonte.
And now is when you sometimes back in here, fifth on back, make some bad moves because you can't let the leaders get too far away from you if you got any chance at all.
And DW, I think this is when, with 45 to go, a lot of our veterans like Mark Martin and Jeff Burton, I think this is where they step it up, just like also Bobby Labonte in the 18.
Yeah, those guys have been out there just taking care of their stuff, getting to this point in the race.
Leaders, here comes Newman, stalking the left rear quarter panel of Greg Biffle, and he's got the line into turn one. He's got the lead.
Man, he did. He did that in style right there, man. Blew him off down the straightaway.
Power move for Ryan Newman, who started second and now leads Biffle's Ford and Gordon's Chevrolet.
How about that? New record, most leaders in the spring race. Under the lights on Saturday night.
Right now, Biffle's car looks like it's not quite as good. It may be tires, it may be air, and it'll take a lap or two for it to come in because it's been really good on the long run. Looks like he's got his hands full right now. Looks like he's sliding up the hill.
He has his hands full of that 24 car, Jeff Gordon.
But Jeff Gordon's car has been better on the short runs, and the longer a green flag run goes, Gordon's fortunes have not been as good.
But they have a tendency, Mike, to fix that thing at the right time.
You don't think these guys are stepping it up? 324 laps into this race. Ryan Newman just ran the fastest lap he's ran in this race.
And talking about Jeff Gordon, you know he's got 12 top 5 finishes and 6 victories in the last 19 races here. So I'd put maybe a little money on him.
He knows this is when you step it up.
21 cars on the lead lap. That includes Ken Schrader, who got the free pass on the 11th caution flag tonight. And Newman pulling away from Greg Biffle.
I still think Biffle's car will come back. I think it'll come back in. I think maybe they had to air down a little low, take him a lap or two to get her wound up, but his car looks pretty darn good. It's slipping around a little bit there for a lap or two, but it looks like he's coming back now.
Now Kevin Harvick restarted in 20th position. And now he goes to work on Dale Jarrett for 16th.
And Steve Burns was telling me while we were at break, the reason he lost all that ground was the fact they had an impact wrench problem. We talked about that last pit stop. You couldn't afford to have a mistake. They had a mechanical failure with an impact wrench, changing the tire.
Jimmy Johnson working the lapped car of Jeff Green, the 43. And now bringing his Lowe's Chevy right up behind Carl Edwards in this battle for 8th place.
I think probably for Jimmy to have a shot at this thing, Larry, he's going to have another caution to get himself back all that track position he lost.
Yeah, he restarted back in 10th, but with all the lap cars, that's like 20th, and right now he's 5.5 seconds behind our leader, Ryan Newman.
Whoa, man, he turned her sideways off a 4 right there, getting under the 99 car Carl Edwards, but he made the pass.
But you're right, DW, he needs to get all he can get and then get that caution to get caught up.
Second place, Jeff Gordon, Greg Biffle.
And right there just behind those two is Casey Kane. So we got us a good little race right here for second. Biffle's car just not quite as good as it has been earlier. And there goes both the 24 and the 9.
Clear, clear.
Well, the 9's going to try to make a pass on. Oh, I wouldn't do that, dude. Now here comes Biffle. He should have been, well, he got blocked. He should have been able to pass them both, but he was too close.
This track races very narrow. It looked like there was all kinds of room on that straightaway, But not so, Darrell. You get down to turn 3.
Well, you got to stop. Both cars, you got to stop or you'll wreck.
But while these guys are doing this, look at that blue and white car that's coming in the picture. Mark Martin in the 6th car. But while this is going on as well, Ryan Newman in that 12, he's driving away from this group.
Yeah, he's already checked out. He's down about McBee right now.
Kane gets underneath Jeff Gordon right here.
Look at him. He gets loose, and man, he has to do it. Does a good job of just staying off of him. But you can't race off that corner side by side and expect not to have some kind of disaster.
It's hard to race off that corner by yourself.
Exactly.
Darrell, y'all keep talking about how fast Ryan Newman is and how he's pulling away. What I'm wondering about is he's running too hard with the number of laps we have left to go, 36. Would he drive the tires off of him and these other guys may reel him back in?
I don't know, Jeff. I watched him earlier before that caution, and he was very consistent. He was running along behind Greg Biffle about 1 second back, and his car looks like it's taking care of the tires. He's not wrestling with it. He's not fighting the wheel. I think the car is pretty darn good, Jeff.
Well, Newman is pulling away, but let's get an update from his pit. Matt?
Mike working on his 2nd top 5 finish this season, first win of the season. Now, Matt Borland just told him on the radio, be careful of your right front. He says the car just loves fresh, clean air, and that is one reason why he is pulling away the car on a rail. They've been working on it all night. Adjustments just about everywhere on every point of the car. They've got it dialed in. And I'm sure one reason Matt Borland's warning him about that right front tire, we talked about it a little bit ago, is how fast he's running right now.
Yeah, you don't want to make that right front tire mad. Start building enough air pressure in it. The thing starts skating, and then you will be in trouble. But I tell you, I watched this car earlier on, as I said, and the thing just looks like it's in the earth really good tonight.
Jeff Burton, not quite 5 seconds behind the leader, and trying to close on Mark Martin.
But not a bad night's work either, Mike. I mean, he's up there in 6th place.
A good pit stop put him in that position.
Team's coming to life. Had a great top 5 at Phoenix, finished 10th at Talladega, so starting to show some spark with this 31 team. As you can see, he's a little over 5 seconds behind our leader, Ryan Newman, in the 12.
And you hear how long they are out of the throttle down there in turns 3 and 4.
You have to wait for it to catch. Slide, you run it in there and then wait for it to bite into something, hoping it's not the fence.
This 2nd place race is 3 seconds behind Ryan Newman. Just 32 laps to go here in Darlington. Dick?
Well, Greg Biffle, who has dominated this race, has gone from 1st back to 4th position following the pit stop. He has just reported to his crew that the car is way too loose. Apparently, it doesn't like what they did on that pit stop.
Well, you can see it right there, too, Larry. You see that thing sliding, and he had to juke it to get it back up under him.
And the sad thing about it, with 30 to go, they may not get an opportunity to fix that thing if we do not get another caution.
And look who's right with him. Racing's biggest opportunist, Mark Martin. Mark Martin looks ahead, sees 2 cars side by side, say, I'll be there in a second.
Just keep on racing side by side.
Push you can control. You can control that with the gas pedal. But when that thing is loose, you saw him just about bounce it off the fence there. That back end's going to step out, hit one of those bumps, you'll hit the fence.
You see Martin's progress over this race from 20th on the grid. He has a Darlington win and 6 runner-up finishes. Steve, problem for Jeff Burton?
Mike, he just called in his crew and he said, guys, I've got a loose wheel, loose tire, something. A great run spoiled for Jeff Burton. He's saying, I don't know what to do, guys. The crew is at the wall, at the ready.
And that's the mistake Jeff Hammond and myself were talking about on that final pit stop.
Well, he's coming out of turn 2 now. Is he going to stay out? Is he going to pit? That's a big gamble.
Yes,
if that car has a big vibration.
It's such a tough place. It's such a tough spot to put the driver in.
Burton stays out, trying to diagnose that car from the driver's seat.
It's taking real hard in the corner.
See his wife, Kim Burton, there on the left.
And the driver is, he knows it's
I'm
vibrating.
coming to you. I don't have a choice.
But he says, what if there's nothing wrong? What if I'm wrong about this and it costs us a great finish?
But I think he's made his mind up, BW. He will be to pit road to let those boys look at it.
Can't take a chance, man. You got to bring it to the pits. Just isn't worth it. Joe Nemechek there just getting by.
All clear, all clear. 4,500 coming at you guys on pit road now.
And they take off the right side tires. Come around to the left. Tough break for Jeff Burton. Larry Mackey just said they'd really turned the corner here in the last few races.
Steve, you could see his frustration when the car stopped. He's beating on the steering wheel. But, yeah, 18th in points, but only 54 points out of 10 coming into Darlington.
Yeah, and that's the frustration. I mean, you want to hit something, and about all you can hit right now is that steering wheel. I mean, you're just sitting there thinking, how in the world, after such a long night, here it is, the end of the night, and dadgummit, that is just pure frustration right there.
See on the seat, get well Josh Yost, one of his crewmen, hit last week during the race, and they could have used a good finish tonight, but most importantly, they'll be in one piece.
And Mike, continue with Jeff Burton. He's told us many times this team has run extremely strong, but the problem's been the finishes have not resulted the way it needed to. And tonight's going to be a good example of that. They run well, but they have not been able to close the deal out and put the numbers on the board for the finish.
Well, he's a lap down. He'll get a top 25 finish out of this, but not the top 5 that Jeff Burton had hoped for. Meanwhile, Ryan Newman's lead over Jeff Gordon now stands at 3.7 seconds. 24 laps to go as Newman tries to bring the Alltel Dodge back to victory lane. He has been tremendous at qualifying. He's the fastest qualifier 1 out of every 4 races. But sealing the deal and making it to victory lane has been a problem for this Penske team this year.
I know they've got the car. I know he's the driver. And if they ever get to where they can do what they're doing tonight, he's a championship contender. I thought that from the beginning of the year. I still believe it.
11th place. Dale Earnhardt Jr. just drove under Rusty Wallace. And here comes Kevin Harvick coming back from that air wrench problem on the last pit stop. Harvick now up to 12th.
So that would be 2 Richard Childress racing cars that had top 5, top 10 cars that had a problem on that last pit stop. Kevin Harvick and now Jeff Burton in 31.
And the other Childress car, Dave Blaney, wrecked earlier. Tough night for Richard. Hope he had a better day at the Kentucky Derby.
I'd say he enjoyed that. We'll have fun next Saturday night under the lights again on short track up there in Richmond.
Oh yeah, side by side, tough short track races next week.
On FX next Friday and Saturday night. The Busch Series and Nextel Cup.
Probably the only little short track, I guess you can call it a short track, where we can race 3 wide down the front straightaway down into turn 1. It's pretty exciting.
NASCAR's oldest super speedway, Darlington, South Carolina. Refurbished, brand new set of lights here for Mother's Day weekend and a sellout crowd. This race has been sold out for a week. And Ryan Newman putting on a clinic here, 3.5 seconds out in front of Jeff Gordon.
The old girl's done herself proud tonight. I mean, we've seen a great race, a lot of good competition. Been fun.
Steve Burns can update us from Jeff Burton's pit.
Mike, talking to the tire specialist down here in the 31 pit, you can see the tire changers thought that all the lug nuts were tight, but this is the inside of the wheel, and these markings show right here that the wheel wasn't tight.
Yeah, Steve, you could even see where those lug holes are egg-shaped just a little bit, and that's normally the telltale sign.
All that powder coating abraded off by vibration. That's what Jeff Burton felt, and good thing he brought that car to pit road.
It would only get worse to the point to where it may not be just changing a tire.
You know, Darrell, you've been bringing up the point here lately about mistakes by the drivers on the racetrack, and the answer has been the competition. We're seeing a lot of mistakes on pit road. The answer is the competition, trying to change 4 tires in 12 or 13 seconds.
I've never seen it so crazy on pit road. I mean, racing all over the place.
That's Diane Newman. That's Ryan's mom on pit road. The Newmans traveled throughout the Midwest with running open-wheel cars for their son.
On the right front.
And as part of Mother's Day weekend, she's here to cheer her son on.
Take care of that right front.
Matt Bourne and his crew chief still remind him as we have 18 laps to go, and it's not going to be that many more laps. He's going to be in some pretty heavy lap traffic. It's not just going to roll over and let him go by.
I tell you what, Larry, one of our Dale Jr. there, he just drove by Tony Stewart, and that put him in 10th spot. Pretty good recovery for that team tonight. They've done a pretty good job, starting 39th position, and there he is in the top 10.
And it was not that many laps ago. He was about to go a lap down as well.
I'm sorry, Mike. I bet that Pete Rondeau won't leave him out there next time with 3 lap tires.
Not here.
I bet he'll pit him and put more on before the restart.
Jeremy Mayfield took his injured car to the garage out of the race. And he'll be the 33rd place finisher tonight. 16 laps to go. We've had 11 caution flags. 3 for debris. 3 for the ongoing Jeff Green, Michael Waltrip tango. And the rest for single or 2-car incidents. A far cry from last week at Talladega, where 25 of them piled up at once. Not quite a record. But here, one at a time. Nevertheless, only 5 cars off the racetrack as we get down into the countdown laps.
And we have one man that hopes that number stays at 11, Ryan Newman. We have about 19 that says, one more caution, give us one more shot.
He just lapped the 20th place car, Elliott Sadler, trying to win for the first time since last September. 17 races between wins is not what you'd call a drought in Nextel Cup. But Newman's been so good at winning poles. Everyone has great expectations for this team.
When I look at Newman, you know, and I got all these flashbacks. When I look at Newman, I think of Cale Yarborough. He's got that build. He's stocky, and he can handle on a race car. He's fast, and he has that Cale Yarborough mentality. He's tenacious.
But Cale grew up just down the road here, Timmonsville, South Carolina. And had a lot of success at this racetrack and won 3 consecutive Winston Cups.
But even though Ryan Newman has not won here, he's been pretty tough here. 6 starts, 3 top 5 finishes, finished 3rd here a year ago, and always starts up front. 5 top 7 starts. So this racetrack's been good to him, even though he's not visited victory lane just yet.
I think Ryan Newman has had 15 top 10 starts in a row.
Wow. The last time his car owner, Roger Penske, who owns the majority of this team with Rusty Wallace and Don Miller, the last time Roger Penske went to Darlington Victory Lane, we're told, 1975. The driver was Bobby Allison, and the car,
watch out,
AMC Matador.
Watch out for the Matador. I won't forget that because I think I run second.
To go for Newman. Coming up on his teammate Travis Quaffle, who is many laps down with a battered and broken car.
Well, let's update our points leader, Jimmy Johnson, in the 48 car. He's in the 6th position right now, and he has a long way to catch up to Mark Martin in the 6th car up in 5th, but this car set up there, ran in the top 2 or 3, led the race, had to make an unscheduled pit stop about 100 laps ago, got back on the lead lap. But with his closest competitor coming into Darlington, Kurt Busch, in a 97 car back in 37th position right now, 65 laps down, this will be a good night for this 48 team, just a good solid run.
Yeah, he's not too far behind Mark. He may just catch Mark for a top 5 finish.
There's the captain, Roger Penske. There with the spotter's headset on. Helping Ryan Newman around. Officially, he is not the spotter on this car. He is the car owner of both this and Rusty Wallace's car.
I don't know if you ask Rusty. I think he'd probably tell you he spots quite a bit.
4-second gap. 7 to play it. 4 seconds. So if you need to back it on, go right ahead.
Penske's won Trans Am championships, Can-Am championships, IndyCar titles. and now hoping for the same success in NASCAR. There is Ryan's crew chief, Matt Borland. You know, the Spring Darlington race has traditionally been run in April. The last time we raced at Darlington in the month of May was 1971. It was the last time a Dodge Charger went to victory lane in the spring race here. Buddy Baker was the driver. Buddy Baker now works for the Penske organization as a driver coach. A lot of synergy there.
Yes, there is. We've been watching this battle here. We have 9 laps to go. Greg Biffle in the 16 car battling Casey Kane in the 9. This is a battle for the 3rd position.
I think they must have made a little bit of an adjustment on that 16 car that it just obviously didn't like. And it's just now starting to maybe come back to Greg a little bit. But he's going to get a run right here, and he's going to pass Casey Kane there going down the back.
Biffle has led the most laps tonight in that number 16, and he has been the best car here on long runs. But he's 3.5 seconds behind the number 12 of Ryan Newman.
Still got a pretty good, I think he's got a good shot at getting up there and getting by Jeff Gordon, too. Jeff Gordon is just in front of him. And, of course, Ryan Newman is hung up in some pretty heavy traffic. And that can really slow you down here. You can lose a second a lap messing around with traffic. And here comes Biffle.
He's got Gordon. Made it look easy. And this is not the point in the race when you just move over for something.
Well, I think what's happened to Jeff, same thing happened all night. That thing will run good for about 10, 15 laps. Then she starts getting loose, and he's just got to slow down to hang on to it.
But that's 10 points he's gained there in about a lap and a half.
Riding with Casey Kane closing in on Jeff Gordon. Casey Kane started this race on the pole, trying for 3rd.
Boy, that 24 car, Jeff Gordon, is some more loose. Now Casey Kane in the 9 is going to go by him. And with 6 laps to go, looks like Mark Martin in the 6 will catch these guys as well.
Yeah, Gordon's car is doing just what it's done all night. It's just starting to jump around from being just bad loose.
And Gordon is sloughing off championship points 5 at a time.
Listen, he's just got his hands full. She's sideways, slideways is what I'd call it.
Jeff Gordon, last week's winner at Talladega, giving up positions and points here.
He's not going to give up easy, though.
Kane's got to run. Look at this.
Yeah, he laid off. That's how you pass here. Lay off the guy, get a run on him. Drive her off in there.
But you got to make it stick.
Mark will get them both.
Now look at his mirror. Mark Martin's there in the 6.
Mark will get them both. So y'all go ahead and race each other.
Whoa, Martin's around.
Oh, man, how'd he do that?
I think he just turned it to the bottom too quick coming off the corner. Caution is out.
Go, Buck. Get your gear. Go, 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 go. They got the caution out. Go, 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 go.
Martin will fall only to 6th place. He loses 1 position.
Yeah, but he's probably going to have to pit.
Look at Matt Borland. We talked about it a while ago. They did not want to see that caution. 4 laps to go. Remember, we're guaranteed 1 shot at a green-white checkered. No question. Everyone will be to pit road for 4 tires. Now, this pit stop could win or lose this race.
The lady in black.
JD right front. Rick left rear. No gas. 4 tires only.
The lady in black's just gone to her closet, got out a new outfit.
You got it.
Here we go.
Yeah, she said, y'all think this is a yawner? Watch this.
I told you stick around, we'd give you a good finish.
And Mark gets down under the 9 car. He tries to cut down off of turn 4. She just won't stick. A lot of laps on the tires, not enough grip, but look what a job he did to keep it off the fence. And like you said, lost 1 spot. Now, there's a couple of players here, buddy. That 16 can be fast, and we know that 48's fast.
And he's sitting in 5th right now.
And Jeff Gordon on the short runs has been fast. And this will be a short run. Now, Dale Jr. said earlier, why didn't you pit me? My tires had 3 laps on them. I need tires. We're only going to have 2 laps to race. Does anybody want to stop?
Well, here's the whole deal. If anybody stays out, and I mean, if a group of guys would stay out and some of these front guys come in, could be trouble. The guy that's really in jeopardy is the leader. If he stays out, they all come in. He comes in, they all stay out.
Darrell, these guys have 40-something laps on those tires. I just don't see how you cannot come to pit road and get tires.
There's 19 cars on the lead lap. If any number of cars stay out, I don't know that you can pass them all. Here comes Biffle. Biffle, the 24, the 9, and the 48. And guess who stayed out?
Newman.
But guess who stayed out with him? Look at all the people that stayed out with him.
Dick Bergman.
Well, the question now is, what's going to happen? Is Biffle going to be able to make up the distance with fresh tires? He is on the top of your screen. Fresh tires mean so much here at Darlington, but so little time for Greg Biffle to try and catch Ryan Newman.
Well, Dick, all I know is I think we have 18 cars on the lead lap. Everyone pitted except our leader, Ryan Newman, Matt. And the 9 of Kane and the 24 of Gordon both decided to come in for tires. They saw what happened in the Busch race last night. Biffle did not pit for tires. Burton did, and Biffle couldn't believe.
Very close coming off pit road for second. Behind was that Carl Edwards, who came out first. Let's have another look at the race off pit road, and this may be the race right here.
Carl Edwards in that 99 car. He's first off. Greg Biffle in the 16, Jeff Gordon in the 24. And there you see Casey Kane in the 9, Jimmy Johnson in the 48. Lost some ground, actually, then Mark Martin in the 6. But remember, it'll be a single file restart. All those lead lap cars will be right on Ryan Newman's rear bumper.
Darrell, that's got to be the stinkingest feeling. Here I am, I'm leading the race, there's 2 laps to go, look in the mirror and go, oops.
I'm going to tell you right now, he just threw up in the car. Because he is a setting duck.
Ryan's wife, Chrissy, crew chief Matt Borland. But Darrell, you said it. They're darned if they do, darned if they don't. If you come in, everybody stays out. If you stay out, everybody comes in.
Leading a race like this right now is the worst place you can be. The drivers were telling me, see all that rubber, all those black spots and all on the hood of the car and the windshield, they were telling me that it's really difficult to see. And late in a run here from the sand and all the rubber that's been thrown up on the windshields of these cars.
Here's what will happen. When NASCAR has the track clean from Mark Martin's spin, they will give the teams 1 to go, regardless of the number of laps completed. Then they'll come around to the green flag. Next time around, see the white
behind
flag.
you on old tires, then the 99 and 16 on 2 tires.
And then the checkered flag. And that will be the race. If a caution comes out before the leader takes the white flag, that's it. They've had their chance.
Look at here, though.
The plot has changed.
It has. Now, things have changed. Things have improved just in a lap here. The 49 stayed out. That's another car. That's Kenny Schrader. The 99 and the 16 only took 2 tires. I don't think 2 tires, with a couple of 3 laps to go, they may not be able to get it done.
I think it's maybe the first car that has 4 tires is Jeff Gordon in the 24 car that's sitting back there in 5th. Now, they will not have to fight any lap-down cars. It will be a single-file restart. Lead lap cars only to the front.
Now, the other thing you got to do, Ryan Newman, is get those tires cleaned up and don't spin them when you take off.
So let's talk about our leaders. Here's Newman. He's the leader. Old tires. Schrader is second, old tires. Carl Edwards is third, 2 tires. Greg Biffle has 2 new tires. Here's Jeff Gordon in 5th. He and everybody behind him has 4 new tires. Oh, boy.
If Ryan Newman can get a good start, and Kenny Schrader and the 2 cars that took 2 tires, the 99 and the 16, can hold up the 24 and everybody else, 12 might pull it off.
Kenny Schrader is his best friend right now.
Right now he is, but they got to get good restarts. Look at old Schrader sitting there. I'm running second with 3 laps to go.
And this will be a single file restart with just those lead lap cars in the front.
Well, I just haven't seen them clean those tires up enough, though. That's making me nervous.
We're going to have 2 laps of Mad TV, and then you'll see Mad TV on the East Coast on your local Fox station or your local news and local programming on the West Coast. Don't touch that dial. There's just 3 laps to go in Darlington County. The first nighttime Nextel Cup race in Darlington's more than 50-year history. And it's all going to come to the checkered flag here in a couple more laps.
But you might want to strap down your TV.
Yes, you might.
Because she may go flying out the door here in any second. Because this is going to get interesting.
As Ken Schrader likes to say, this could get big.
Got to have a good restart. That's key right now. Good restart.
Green flag, green flag.
Kenny Schrader spun the tires in the 49.
Ryan Newman stacked them up. Newman stacked them up big time. He took off and then checked up, and Schrader checked up to keep from running over him.
There goes Carl Edwards in that 99 car, though. Greg Biffle, though, in the 16, he's going to take the position. He has a lap and a half to get it done.
Jeff Gordon comes right up to the back bumper and moves the car aside.
Just
moves
like
Edwards over.
Carl Edwards goes for a ride. And here goes Biffle for the lead. 16 car. They'll be coming to the white flag this time.
Greg Biffle has led the most laps. Can he lead the last lap?
I think he might do it.
Here comes Gordon for second on the inside.
And remember, Gordon had those 4 tires. He's got a lap to get it done.
White flags in the air. They're in turn 2. This is the race. This is it. Casey Kane takes third. Newman fades to fourth. Greg Biffle has them all in his mirror.
He's got it made. If he can just ride her through here, just keep her between the rails.
I mean, Jeff Gordon drove that thing down into turn 3.
Greg Biffle leads 176 laps and wins the Dodge Charger 500.
And they're ready to come to the start-finish line. Rusty Wallace in the 2, Kevin Harvick in the 29.
Not sure what that's all about.
And Darlington Raceway, the lady in black, has the last word as usual.
You know who had the last word? Doug Richard. Gambling, changing just 2 right-side tires at Darlington.
Smart move. Let's see what happened here coming to the line. This got pretty ugly.
Car 2, Rusty Wallace, the Miller Lite Dodge, his final Darlington race.
29, 20, and the 2 all right here together. Harvick gets under Rusty. Oh, and Rusty comes down. I don't know if he got bumped from behind.
It started ahead of them. Carl Edwards bounced off the wall. Joe Nemechek got into him, and then these 3 cars came into it.
Chain reaction.
Everybody is okay. That's Robin, Doug Richards' wife,
Doug and his
crew chief's wife.
What a race. What a job by Biffle. What a job by that crew.
They've been beaten by race strategy when leading before this year. This time, they capitalize, and Greg Biffle wins.
Welcome to the Nextel Post-Race Show. Brought to you by Nextel, helping NASCAR groups get things done. NASCAR and Nextel, partners in speed. Greg Biffle dominates 176 laps, led his 3rd win of this year. By the way, Tony Stewart, Rusty Wallace, Kevin Harvick involved in that wreck. All drivers okay, but smiling the most is Greg Biffle. Let's head down to victory lane.
When he got to this victory lane, he sat for a moment or 2 behind the wheel, contemplating. Were you just trying to get hold of the fact that you really did win this?
Yeah, I mean, you know, we had a great car all night. National Guard posted, or Travelodge car. The guys just did a good job. We had a good car all night, but track position is so tough, and I was too loose, so we tried some air pressure on that one run there at the end, and so I fell back to 3rd. But gosh, these guys just never gave up. It was a great race car tonight, and what a Mother's Day present for that. My mom couldn't be here, but she's coming to Charlotte, so hopefully we get another win there.
And you won it on pit strategy. Congratulations to Matt.
Jeff Gordon follows up his win at Talladega with a 2nd-place finish here. What a wild restart.
That was crazy. I don't know if the 12 spun the tires or what, but man, it stacked us all up, and we were lucky just to get to the start-finish line. But we got it all going again and got down into turn 1, and man, it was just wide open. I knew the 16 was the guy, you know, to get by. I mean, he had 4 tires. He's the first guy on 4 tires, and you know, when he dove inside that 99, man, I was trying to get my nose in there as well. And I got to say something about Carl Edwards. I got him loose. I hit him. And I have no idea how he saved that car. That was some awesome driving, and I'm sorry that I got into you, Carl. But, you know, I'm real proud of these guys in this DuPont Chevrolet. I mean, that was not our best effort here at Darlington, but we fought through it. We kept charging. We had great pit stops and somehow pulled off a 2nd-place finish.
2nd here at the Lady in Black once again.
Thanks, Matt. We hope to talk with Ryan Newman, but he's gone up into the front of the truck. Hopefully we'll get him before we get off air here, but look at Jimmy Johnson. He leads now his Hendrick Motorsports teammate Jeff Gordon in the standings. 5 wins for Roush, 4 for Hendrick this year, 1 for Richard Childress.
The lady in black, she likes the nightlife.
Yes, she does, but I tell you, once again, like I said a while ago, I want to tip my hat to Doug Richard. I would never believe if anyone was going to make a call to come to pit road, they would have not done 4.
I love this place. Steve Burns.
And Ryan Newman just out of the transporter. Ryan, you were in an awkward spot there. You decided to stay out. Tell us about your strategy.
You would think with 20-some cars on the lead lap that at least 3 of the guys running last on the lead lap would stay out, but they didn't, and we had those lap cars in between us, and you know, I can't say that is a bad call by any means by anybody, but I think you know, we had a car that definitely should have won this race tonight, but didn't, and that's something we can't say about the other races this year. So we'll just go on. It was a great run for our Alltel Dodge. Look forward to going to Richmond.
Thanks for coming out, Ryan. Appreciate it. Back to Chris.
Thanks, Ryan, and also thanks, Steve. So we'll head to Richmond for Friday night and Saturday night racing next weekend on FX. Dale Earnhardt Jr., who's yet to win this year, won the race last year, still in the top 10 in points with Jeff Hammond. By the way, Greg Biffle's mom, Sally, who he said couldn't be here, but will be with him in Charlotte. Happy Mother's Day, and I know she'll be smiling for her son. He dominated the race, and each time this year that Jeff Gordon has won a race, Greg Biffle has won afterwards, so they each have 3 wins so far.
Each had 3 wins, and again, as far as I'm concerned, Roush again comes through on these impound races and wins the 4th race this year out of the 5 we've run. So they're really strong on these impound races. Great job by that group right there.
So for Jimmy Johnson, no three-peat here. Jeff Gordon was shooting for his 4th win of the season. Tough battle to end up 2nd. Dale Earnhardt Jr. did finish in the top 10, winding up 8th. The Lady in Black, an entertaining hostess here on the eve of Mother's Day night racing here in Darlington. Thanks for being a part of NASCAR on Fox. Happy Mother's Day to all the moms out there. Greg Biffle, victorious here in Darlington. We'll see you next weekend in Richmond.